both on the wet part of the racetrack.
I think we're going to have to run the Mitchie lap over a bit of qualifying. Well, good evening, wherever you are. It's hot and baking here in the United Kingdom, but, well, we're not going there today. We're actually heading to Germany for round 10 of 18 of the WTF1 Superleague. It's second half of the season time, and we have a very fascinating evening ahead of us. There's the threat of rain, and there's some very interesting names at the top of the timesheets in free practice. And, well, it's not your regular lineup either. I'm James Kirk here on Lead Comms, deputising for Mr. Jake Sanson. And but alongside me, we've always got to have him here, don't we? It's Mr. Lewis Mcglade. Lewis, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm basically moved in now, Superleague. It's always good fun to come back here. We've had some great races over the last few rounds. It's been nice and tight and close between the top runners. Of course, we saw that at Silverstone, although some things have happened after, which we will get to, don't worry. But yeah, things were tight at the top. Boy Milan going after the race win. Oh, so good, so good. And now we come here, German Grand Prix on the calendar again. ACR Zach Speed have been very strong here in the past few years. Looking for their third win in a row at this circuit. But weather looks like it might play a part in that. We're currently blue skies, a few clouds in it. Rain is expected, though, to hit us at some point throughout this evening.
It is definitely looking more of a case of when rather than if. The 13th time the German Grand Prix has been won. It's the 10th time here at Hockenheim, though. And to take you around this wonderful circuit is one of my personal favourites, certainly. It's Mr. Mitchie Hoyer. Take it away, sir.
This is Mitchie Hoyer from ACR Saxpeed, powered by SimNews.tv and the SimPit, and we're live in the ACR Saxpeed car around German Hockenheim Ring, the racetrack that is located 100 kilometers north from where I live. So it is the actual home Grand Prix of me here in GPVWC, and once again I'm very delighted to take you around for another track presentation here at Hockenheim. As we go through the final turn, across the line, turn 1, north corner, a quick right-hander into the first of 2 DRS zones, powering the car towards turn 2, hard on the brakes for this turn 2, where it is very important that you have a great exit. A full throttle turn 4 onto the parabolica, which is noted down at turn 5. Second DRS zone, best overtaking spot on the track coming up into this close hairpin, hard braking into second gear. Very nice maneuvers can be seen here. Hard on the accelerator this time for turn 7. Little right-hand kink before we head into turn 8 in front of the Mercedes-Benz grandstand. Turn 8, 9, and a very quick turn 10 kink onto a little straight where you can see the drag race circuit. Into the motordrome we go, turn 12, very quick right-hander, sucks corner, 180 degree left-hand turn, a little chicane that can easily be done flat out into the final 2 corners, 180 degree, very hard on the tires, take around all that speed and across the line. This is 1 lap around the Hockenheim race circuit, and now I wish you guys a lot of fun seeing the races here live in GPVWC.
say powerful suitors, perhaps for the future?
Some would say he's a right quick driver.
Oh, boy,
hey.
oh boy.
Look, I made all these puns like in 2016 when he was
pretty
first on the
Kirk.
scene.
That was a stretch, wasn't it?
No,
Sorry.
that was a stretch, yeah. No, obviously, yes, he was in Super Cup in 2016. Very, very quick. Sometimes let the pressure get to his head, but insanely quick driver. He can really get out there with the best. He's proven that now. 2/10 off of pole, not improving on this lap as he brings it back into the pit lane. Everything seems to have kind of settled a little bit on the circuit at the moment. Geoffrey Fournier started his first time, dropping a little bit in the first sector. So it's his first lap. He's trying to get back into it. We also, purple in the middle sector. Hello, Geoffrey Fournier, 26th position. Obviously not set a time yet. He is determined to jump his way right towards the front. I also see Sven de Vries in the Storm Racing car as well. Obviously, probably should have been a previous Super Cup champion. Geoffrey Fournier comes out of the final corner and runs towards the line. He should. Ooh. Yes, Lord. Jumps right up the order, not quite onto pole.
Hello, Geoffrey Fournier. Welcome back. Actually, in taking that podium last time out in Silverstone, albeit after the disciplinary committee had their say, that was his first podium, or his first time on the podium in general, since the first race of the season when he won. That's his first podium apart from first in Super League, which boggles the mind considering how strong he's been this season. But yeah, Sven de Vries actually.
Or pole.
Yeah, of course. Well, no, I'm saying on the podium. We know he got pole position.
I'm saying, like, considering how strong he's been, that's quite impressive. Because he's had a pole before.
Yes, of course. In his home race in France, of course. But yeah, interesting one, Sven de Vries. Just coming back into full-time racing now. And has joined up with Ruud Hestebeker, another multiple Super League race winner, down at TG Racing. TG, fascinating story down there. Completely ejected their lineup of Patrick Gerber and Sebastian Kosmala to put in Sven and Ruud. To be fair, I can understand these are two veterans and fast veterans of the racing world. First race back, Sven de Vries already has, or first round back, I should say, Sven de Vries already has a win and I think a podium under his belt. So he's certainly not lost anything, although he's just gone flying into the barriers on the inside of the exit of turn one. That was a mouthful, wasn't it? And certainly not looking too good here as he tries to maybe get some good news in for Storm Racing, who are without Liam Duval for this round. And currently their cars, barring Tobias Olsen and Michael Ayres, they sit on the very back.
Yeah, I mean, Sven is a very, very solid driver. As by the way, whilst you're talking, Peter Burlak jumped up to third, then Jarl Tyne jumped up to third. Very, very tight. So 1/10 over the top four. Right Kilt coming through the final sector now. He's looking pretty strong. Alex Siebel did just improve by 0.2 of a second, so maybe pole's already gone. Right Kilt comes into the pit lane, so ignore that. Dennis Jordan's also set a purple first sector. Woof, it's coming in thick and fast now, James. But yeah, Sven's a quality driver, as long as he gets the setup done for him. Sorry, Sven, but yeah,
but it's true. If you give him the right tools, he is going to build a masterpiece.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not so much a driver who knows too much about setting up the car, but if you give him a decent one, I would pretty much guarantee you he'll go quicker than you on it. Right? It's one of those drivers. You can put together a lap which you think is perfect. Sven will come in almost seeming like he doesn't know very much, and yet will set a time 0.3 quicker than what you think is possible. And it's like, okay, cool. Thanks, mate.
Thanks.
Dennis Jordan did go off the road, by the way, so he's not actually going to finish.
I was wondering why his second sector hadn't popped up. Tell you who has popped up, though, Pedro Gomez. Up into P6 in the Red Archer. Now, we've been talking a lot about Osvaldo Angeloni in the past couple of rounds, doing amazing things in the Red Archer. Has the Venezuelan, Colombian? I think he's... You know, I'm going to leave it there. He's done very good things. Pedro Gomez has kind of been left in the shadow, so it's good to see him back up there. But someone else who's also been firmly put in the shadow in recent races is Risto Capit, who can, so far, only manage a time good enough for P10. That is incredibly worrying for the Estonian.
Yeah, especially, again, teammate. We speak about this every round now. is something is not clicked with that car. Although we speak to Mike, if it rains, he reckons that Risto's better than Siebel, but if it's dry, Siebel's got this one sorted when it comes to his battle against his teammate.
Listen, my one argument against that is any time I've seen Risto cap it in the wet this season, and that's across both Super League and indeed World GT, of which just last week he became the 3-time World GT Drivers' Champion. He's not to be underestimated, but in any wet weather condition, he's not looked great. So either Alex Siebel has completely set his car up for dry running, or maybe Risto Capit's found something in practice over the last couple of weeks that we don't know about.
The thing with wet weather running is we all know that you don't really practice in the wet, right? Unless there's a lot of rain on the Saturday. It's not one of those things that you really generally do. And so it almost comes down to a bit more like natural feel with the car and a bit of patience and a bit of just light touches with the steering. And I guess like maybe that's kind of working out a bit better rather than ridiculous levels of practice. I don't know. We have got everyone there starting their final laps of qualifying. Jeffrey Fournier is still in the pit lane. With 1 minute 11, he's going to come out now. So we've got 1 minute 30 to go. He will make it round, and he'll be basically starting his last lap as that checker flag comes out. So it's going to be quite tight, but he should be able to do it. Risto Capit started a lap. No, Dennis Jordan won't. No, he's done. Dennis Jordan, 5th position. That'll be done for him. Risto Capit will get a couple of laps in as Yuri Kazdorp, purple in the first sector, heads around the parabolica now and in towards that tight hairpin. That Edna's looking pretty quick. He is very good in the races as well.
Oh, Jarl Tyen.
Yes, very nice.
If he's got enough fuel in that car, he can do another lap as well, although it looks like he's slowing.
Straight off.
Yeah, so Jarl Tyen then not able to improve as Tobias Olsen goes up into P9. What an effort from the Madcape driver that is. But Yuri Kazdorp, a massive slide there out of the Mercedes arena section. He was so unlucky last time out in Silverstone, wasn't he? He likes to do these alternative strategies. Who's jumped up? Is
Risto.
That Risto? So Risto's gone back up into P9.
Oh, and he's lifted as well coming out of turn 1. Yes, that's
so
it. Risto's 9th.
Wow, that is worrying.
It's
Kazdorp! That is a heavy crash at the final corner, and what a shame. He's going to be starting outside the top 10, though, as we say, he's a master of those alternative strategies. Maybe he can conjure up something today. Who else is out on track? Borja Milan.
Yeah, green in the first sector, so he's improving. Comes out of the hairpin now. Lights up the rear tyres a little bit too much, though. Right Kirk as well. I think he's just started a lap, although he's slightly down. They actually set exactly the same first sector as Borja Milan, so those two going pretty quick. And Siebel, by the way, purple in the first sector. So, very quick.
Oh, green second sector from Petter as well, though. And he crosses the line to go 3rd, just behind his teammate. That is much better from the Edge boys. And it's up to Epic now to respond. Fournier, I think, is he done? No, he's put in a
first sector. Watch out for Borja, though. Comes out of the final corner. He might improve on this lap. Comes across the line. He's going to set 1:11.6 up to 3rd.
Splits the Edge boys. That's exactly what they need. And who's going to be the next to cross the line then? Probably Right Kirk, from what I'm seeing. The Estonian currently P8. That's still a mighty effort in the eval.
Even better. Here he goes. Maybe 3rd. No. Did not improve in that final sector. That's a shame.
And so
he was setting pretty much the exact same time as Borja Milan. So it comes down, to Jeffrey Fournier, who is not setting a great time at the moment. So I think this is not going to be an improvement. And I think we already have our lineup for the German Grand Prix.
Yep, and so across the line he goes. No improvement there. And actually, it was no improvement for our eventual pole sitter. His 5th pole position of the season. It is Alex Siebel at his home track. But how close was it behind? The top 8 separated, top 9 technically separated by 0.5 of a second. It's a bite back from Edge Esports. Jarl Tyen on the front row alongside Siebel. Then it's Milan and Burlak. Fournier rounding out the top 5. He's going to be joined on row 3 by Dennis Jordan. Disappointments. No one really too far out of position. Maybe David Fidek would feel a little bit aggrieved to be down in P21. Actually out-qualified by his teammate, Alex Cooper. That's worrying, of course. Yuri Kazdorp, he might very well have been in the top 10. Shout out to Tobias Olsen, though. Getting that mad cape into the top 10. Not an easy achievement, arguably harder than Kirk getting that eval into the top 10.
Yeah, so there's some interesting ones in there. You've got a few that have qualified on that Supersoft. Tom Parker for Evolution Motorsports is down in 14th. He's on the Supersoft, so is Mark Hutchinson, so is David Fidek was on the Supersofts as well. That's interesting that he's down in 21st and on the Supers. We obviously know that Risto was qualifying on the Supers until his final stint where he jumped onto the Ultrasoft tyre. So, yeah, there's a few interesting bits of strategy, although I will say anyone on the top 13, so from Erhan Yovsky forwards, is on the Ultrasoft tyre.
Indeed, they are. And so that is your order for qualifying. And while we jump into the warm-up, I think now would be a good opportunity to take a little look at what happened last time in the British Grand Prix.
We have come to the home of British motorsport. It is Silverstone. This one's going to be tough for Alex Siebel at the start. He needs to get it absolutely textbook. The lights come on. When they extinguish, we're racing. Charge! Let's race at Silverstone. Cracking getaway from Siebel. Exactly how he needed it to go. Now that looks to me like Manuel Martini. Rejoined at a rather awkward point as well. In there with
he's just gone out of the back of the...
And that's tagged the Red Archer.
Moment there.
He's going to get a move from Costa though. He's going to make this one stick around the outside of the stage for sure.
Yeah, Costa made a mistake through Beckett's, and Fournier's going to try and run right round the outside. He's through. So there is a good at the moment as Tom Parker is trying to make a move on the inside of Stowe corner on Mark Hutchinson. And as they go into lap 10, Fournier is going to need to join in exactly the right point of the circuit. He's got the Meserix in there, and he's going to have to try and hold on in front of Hoekstra. The back end kicks out. That's critical for Fournier. He rejoins in 14th, tucked up behind Flo Gaia, but ahead of the Meserix. That was crucial. Now that's brave, but that is Fournier on Gaia, and that is how strong Jeff Fournier in the Epic is compared to Flo Gaia in the Red Bull Street Fighter.
Oh, P7, yeah, Risto Caput and Jarl time. Risto needs to get this move done. He's got a lower top speed in comparison round the outside of Stowe. What a sensational move there for Risto Caput.
Oh, that's
Tobias
a big
Olsen.
That is Tobias Olsen, having had a bit of a moment there. As Burlak pits. Now, this is the critical pit stop, James. This is for the third step of the podium. And Costa and Fournier are going to go sweeping past. That, for me, surely is third position gone. 10 to go, and the gap between Siebel and Milan has fallen below 2 seconds. Oh, Gomez is having a battle of his own with Menno Claude, and this is an absolute nightmare for Milan. Well, any chance Epic might have had of taking a victory in the British Grand Prix has taken a severe uppercut now. That's absolutely appalling.
We got Fidek again and Mark Hutchinson, same corner, Brooklyn's corner. He's on the Ultrasoft tyres. He's going to try and go around the outside to get the inside for Lufford. I think he's going to do it here.
Oh, that's
and
lovely.
He's going to make that one stick. Yeah, lovely stuff there.
Costa going to be able to hold on for the moment. Yes, he is, but Fournier's getting very close here, Lewis. This could get very tasty. Costa, Fournier, Burlak and Jordan. 4 different teams will battle for that third step on the podium. Alex Siebel takes the British Grand Prix. He wins in fantastic style from Borja Milan in second place. Ricardo Costa hangs on for third position. 4th for Fournier, 5th for Burlak, 6th for Jordan. What an epic encounter that was, Lewis. Very intriguing stuff, right down to the finish.
So hello there and welcome back to the YouTube viewers to the 2018 WTF1 Superleague Grand Prix of Germany. Of course, to WTF1 viewers, Welcome. Great to have you with us. Let's take a little look over the race results then from last time out at the British Grand Prix, just to double check where everyone finished, because there were a couple of significant penalties. The biggest one going to Ricardo Costa. It was adjudged that he had cut a number of corners a little bit too much. And so though the Hawkeye driver initially finished on the podium, he ended up in P6 overall, giving Epic Racing by Radical a double podium to take home. Milan in second. Of course, what could have been had it not been for those back markers. And Fournier stepping onto the podium, albeit belatedly, for the first time since his win in Australia. Pretty big news for him. It'd be great to see him do that again sometime throughout the season. We know he's got that pace. And into the second half of things, it was a disappointing race for Yuri Kastorp, of course, in that Adonis engineering car. Oh, if his strategy had only worked out without any hampering, he might have been in that podium battle himself. And as for the likes of Gaia, well, he got to score his first point in a little while for Street Fighter. Matthew Williams doing good to finish his first race in Super League, and disappointment in the DNF department for Manuel Martini, still not really lighting it up in that Hawkeye, and Dino Paolini still looking to get his foot into the Super League with Zurich Racing, which then leads us on to the championship standings as they are going into round 10 of 18. It looks better and better week in, week out for Alex Siebel, picking up his 5th race win of the season last time out. He now sits on 165 points ahead of Risto Capit, his own teammate, on 128. Fournier up there in third on 114, followed by the two Edge boys of Burlack and Tyen. They're looking to score some big points on both Epic and ACR, and for their own Drivers' Championship causes this time out, with a good qualifying here. And looking at that Constructors' Championship then, it's kind of looking like a one-horse race now. ACR Zach Speed, 100 points exactly ahead of Edge Esports, who lost a bit of ground to Epic Racing behind them. That's easily eaten back, though. Evolution 4th. Hawkeye still remaining P5, despite the demotion for Costa off the podium. I remember last year, Lewis Mcglade, that we had a very wet British Grand Prix. It caused all sorts of chaos. And with 5 minutes of the warm-up session left of the drivers, I look up to the skies, and it's looking a little bit more cloudy than our qualifying session.
Yeah, that weather looking like it might play a part in the race to come. It's going to be an interesting one. I don't think it'll rain for the start of the race, or at least not within the first couple of laps, I don't think, which for us, even more spicy. But yeah, it's going to be a tough one for some of these guys. But I mean, for Siebel, you've won 5 out of 9, over 50% of the races this season. He's coming into this another pole position, feeling super confident about where he's at. He knows he's in a team that's super strong around this circuit. The confidence within that team is going to be super high, at least on one half of the garage. Just a quick point, by the way. 2 people got back of the grid penalties from qualifying at Silverstone. One of them is George Sutton. The other one, I'm pretty sure you can have a guess at who it was.
Lindelof.
No,
who's not here.
He got.
Well, actually,
he,
I do.
He
I'm
got
kind of
penalty
cheating.
for cutting in the race.
I've got the list here.
It was
I'm
Costa.
trying. It's Costa. Yeah, mind you, you've also got 2 people with massive grid penalties from the race as well. Tobias Olsen and Michael Ayres, both with 20-place grid penalties, which is actually quite a shame considering that Olsen had such good pace that he was up in 10th.
Yeah.
So we've just had a little word through in our ear that apparently rain is set to hit the circuit in 1 minute. Big thank you to our broadcast coordinator, by the way, Gerrit de Vries. I don't know how many different big titles I'm going to give him throughout the course of this broadcast, but I'll try and go through as many as I can. I'm James Kirk, by the way, and I'm actually going to take the conversation to tyre selection, Lewis, because, well, if you're new with us here, whether you're on the WTF1 platform or whether you're new at GPVWC in general, in Super League, you're allowed to choose your own selection of tyres, but it doesn't just have to be limited to a selection of tyres that the league picks. You can choose any one of the available compounds from ultra soft right up to the hard compound tyre, though let's be fair, the hard compound tyre is just about as popular as me at a house party. Basically, not very. when it comes to tyre selection, it's had quite a big effect usually. Some teams have better tyre conservation than others. In the case of Yuri Kasdorp, he likes to have a bit of strategy variation, and so he might pick a harder tyre to go for a longer stint, therefore nullifying the need for an extra pit stop. But when it comes to these wet races, Lewis, all of that is kind of thrown out the window in some ways, but also made all that more important in another, because these teams, they will have had their set dry race strategies. They'll know what they're going to be doing if there is no rain. But if there is that threat of rain, then it might make them think, well, why would I want to go onto a harder compounder tyre for my middle stint if it's going to start raining 3 laps into it?
Right. See, now I've race engineered for Larsbrug when we were racing in FSR. And that was at Bahrain last year. And oddly enough, wet race out of nowhere. Why not? Why not in Bahrain? But we kind of knew it was going to rain, but you just don't really know when. As much as you can say, oh, it's going to rain in 1 minute. It's been a minute. It's not rained yet.
It
right?
has, yeah.
So you kind of... You can take it with a pinch of salt, but don't run your strategy around what you expect to come, because sometimes it's not the case. And the way we ran it in Bahrain, right, was taking it from what Jenson Button said after the 2011 Canadian Grand Prix, right, which was just make sure that you're always on the right tyre at the right time, which basically means just pick the tyre for the condition that you are presently in, not one that you think is going to be in 5 minutes, because you just don't know what's going to happen in 5 minutes when it's these changeable conditions, when it's these mixed conditions. So when it comes to this race at the moment, right, it's dry. We think it might rain. It probably will, based on what we're seeing, but it might not. We might see a completely dry race. So from this point of view, you have to run your strategy around the idea of it being a dry race, right?
Of course, it's not to say that strategists don't try and predict the future 5 minutes ahead of them, and sometimes
of course, it's a huge advantage.
Well, yeah, it pays off massively, but it's often better to be safe than sorry. And we've seen so many drivers, both rookies and experienced, get caught out by trying to play the role of almost God's seer, trying to see exactly what's going to happen, and they've lost good points because of it. I've seen people lose podiums because they've made the wrong weather call.
Yeah, I say, like, at the moment, you've got to look at it. You've got to go, right, it's dry at the moment. Maybe you look at it and you think, right, it could rain within like the first sort of third of the race. And so if you were going on a 2-stop strategy, you want to make sure that you're on the tyre basically you just want to be on the fastest tyre for the start of the race, just because you never know when it's going to happen. But then it's that middle stint. I'm sure, as we get ready to head over to the race, I'm sure all of these guys have got strategists, have got people behind the scenes that are helping them out, and they'll be looking in the middle of the race as to see when the weather might come in, and then that will decide what tyre you're on in the middle. But again, as a driver who's driven sort of in mixed conditions like that, I tend to just prefer to ignore it, right? Oh, look, it might rain. How interesting. And then past that, don't take any information from it, because you just never know.
If it starts bucketing down, then you switch tyres.
Exactly.
I do know there is a lot of support for Menoclont in the chat, of which, actually, to be fair, Menoclont's been very good in changeable conditions before. So
2015, 15
Super Cup. It was
first race of the season in 15. He won it on mixed conditions by just driving a superb race, no mistakes.
Maybe he'll be able to score points this time around. We will wait and see. Going to be interesting to see how the Edge boys launch off the line as well, whether anyone can beat Alex Siebel into turn 1 or beyond, because generally he's dealt with them quite well. It's the German on pole and his home Grand Prix, with Jarl Tyen up alongside him on the front row. We then have Borja Milan in 3rd and Jeffrey Fournier in 4th.
Yeah,
it was Burlack who qualified.
Burlack, then, yeah.
I don't think there's a penalty.
No,
either.
not for a one-place grid drop.
Well, mind you, one thing they were not considering, people might have, they might have told the race director, we don't want this time. So it seems like there's been lots of stuff going on in the background then. Fournier will start alongside his teammate Borja Milan, Burlack 5th, we'll try and go for everyone then. Jordan 6th with Kirk in 7th, Gomez 8th, Kazdorp starting indeed inside the top 10 in 9th, and Risto Capit rounds out the top 10 for ATL Zaxby. So on Super Softs as well. Curious choice. Paulini will start P11 for Majurik, with Erhan Yuyovsky P12 for Adonis. We then have Tom Parker P13 for Evolution, with Wopke Hoekstra 14th for Majurik. Mark Hutchinson is the person to flag the flags in 15th, with Florian Geyer just outside the points in P16 for Red Bull Street Fighter. Alex Cooper's P17 for Nordstrom, with Andre Enerick in his first race of the season for Red Archer P18. Argo Tida starts P19 for Eval, with David Fidek rounding out the top 20 for Nordstrom. Menno Klont, can you make the conditions work for him? If there are any conditions, we'll wait and see. He's P21 in the lead of the Storm racing cars. Disastrous qualifying for them. Ben Horrell separating the two Storms in the Red Bull Street Fighter. Sven de Vries behind him. Tobias Olsen starting all the way back in P24 after his 20-place grid drop. And then starting from the pit lane, we have 3 drivers. Interesting choice, but given that they have back of the grids or plus 20s, not a surprise really. Michael Ayres for Flag to Flag. George Sutton for Mad Cape. And Ricardo Costa for Hawkeye.
Yeah, we got a few people starting on those super soft. So as I said, yeah, we got Risto Capit, who did his fastest time in qualifying on them, so he gets to start on them, obviously in the top 10. Tom Parker on super softs in 13th, Mark Hutchinson in 15th, did bring that up in qualifying, and David Fidek in 20th. Not sure what the guys in the pit lane are going to start on, but they're all lining up on the grid now, and we should see an exciting start at least on the run down towards a tricky turn 1.
Absolutely. So we're looking up to the lights now. We're going to have 67 laps of racing action against this Hockenheim circuit. Can anyone beat Alex Siebel? That is going to be the question that we're asking today. We got 1 light, we got 2, we got 3 lights and 4, and when the 5th one extinguishes, we're racing. And it looks like a pretty good start there from Alex Siebel. Jarl Tyen filing in behind. Burlak, and is there contact into turn 1? Burlak was on the outside, Jordan on the inside, and it means that Peter Burlak has been thrown off the track down to P16. Incredibly unlucky there. As into turn 2 we go now. Everyone just trying to file their way through, but an awful start there. Kirk up to P5. Capit's up to P6 already. What a start from the Estonian. Gomez and Kazdorp clashing in P7 and P8 with Fournier all the way down to P9. I'm wondering whether it was Dennis Jordan that really caught them out there.
Yeah, it was. I did just back on that instant. As we've got lots of diving in and come down the inside. This is always going to happen, the concertina effect into that hairpin. I don't know if anyone's spun in the background, but they're going to be too wide, leaving that corner all the way down the grid. I did have a look at the Dennis Jordan instant. He kind of came across the front of the Epic racing car, and yeah, there was a big crash. Unfortunately, Peter Burlak's paid the heaviest price of that, currently down in 15th position, battling with Tom Parker to try and get himself up into the top 14. He's going to, drop back into 15th. He's still in the points, still a race ahead of him, and hopefully not too much damage on the Edge Esports car.
Yeah, same for Jeffrey Fournier, down to P9. So, unfortunately, a bit of naughtiness from Dennis Jordan, maybe. We'll wait and see. But at the end of lap 1, it's his compatriot Alex Siebel who leads from Tyen, Milan, Kirk, Jordan, Capit, Kazdorp, Gomez, Fournier, and Wopke Hoekstra in the Mazurik up in the top 10. What a great start for him. What a great start for Florian Geyer as well. Nosebleeds for Red Bull Street Fighter.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was it was naughty, but I'd say it was clumsy. It was just clumsy. He just didn't give enough room for 2 cars. That'd be for a number of reasons. Maybe he didn't realise there was two whole cars there, whether he thought that someone was not fully there or what. Maybe he didn't know there was someone like Peter Burlak was all the way on the inside. As we've got Florian Geyer being overtaken by Erhan Yuyovsky, although Florian's going to get a great drive out of the corner. Yeah, he's going to hold that P11. Excellent fights throughout the grid. It's going to be like this all afternoon heading into that hairpin. Boyan Milan, by the way, sets the fastest first sector of anyone on that lap.
Impressive, most impressive. And of course, we've got to keep an eye out for the DRS zones, which will come into effect, you guessed it, next lap. So we've got Siebel only 8 tenths ahead of Tyen, who himself is only 7 tenths ahead of Milan, who himself is only 9 tenths ahead of Kirk. We're going to be running a bit of a DRS train, I foresee, Lewis. And Jarl Tyen currently in the prime position with the only man who won't be getting DRS just ahead of him.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you've got to treat these 2 DRS zones like the first one is to get you close, is to get you within punching distance. The second one is where you go for the punch. You've got to keep yourself close enough, though. And I think if we look at Alex Siebel now, he is just pulling a little bit away. It's so crucial for him to get that gap done as the DRS opens for Jarl Tyen. It's just not closing quite enough, but he needs to keep within that punching distance.
Milan and Kirk holding, watching brief. Super important for Risto Capit, Lewis. Starting on those super soft tyres, it has proved massively beneficial after that early crash in turn 1. He's keeping Yuri Kasdorp at bay, but more importantly, he's keeping well within touching distance of the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, you'd suggest with Risto, being Risto and the speed that he should have, he needs to close in, he needs to make some impact here, some inroads if he wants to get onto that podium. I think starting on supers and the position that he's in, a podium is definitely possible, as Jarl Tyne set the fastest at middle sector on that lap, a tenth quicker than Alex Siebel as he's closing up.
Oh, and mind you, he's still losing time though. I wonder whether ACR have gone for a lower downforce setup car.
Well, it's going to be hard to tell at the moment because the DRS obviously of Jarl Tyne's going to give him a bit higher top speed regardless.
He's not going to have it. He's not going to have it. When they crossed the line, it was 1.1 seconds.
No, he doesn't have it. Somebody does though, bought in Milan.
All of a sudden, the pendulum has switched, and the Spaniard, who had his by far and away strongest race of the season. We forget for how long Borja Milan has actually been at GPVWC. This is his rookie season in Super League. He's not taken part in any races before 2018. He picked up his first podium last time out. It might very well have been a win. For me personally, I don't think it would have been.
No.
But once again, he's showing that he has the pace to mix it up with the big boys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's really come alive, that Silverstone race. I think it's given him like a taste of the blood of being towards the top, and he likes it. He needs to be up here more often. I was speaking to Menno Klomp when I was in Holland over the weekend. We met up at Assen and we had a little bit of a conversation about obviously what happened. I said, you know, maybe Borja probably couldn't have won that race. He was maybe punching a little bit above his weight. He's within DRS. I think he might go for moving to the hairpin. But Borja Milan's time is coming for that WTF1 Super League race win. Oh, he's going to get a move done here for sure.
Surely. He's looking so much faster. The DRS opens at that second line, and he closes even more. It's one of the longest DRS zones on the calendar here at the Parabolica, but he decides to stay conservative, a little sighter, but he goes back into the slipstream.
Well, Jarl is not going to be an easy person to pass. We know he's quite an aggressive driver when it comes to his on-track race style. Let's say that. He's aggressive. He knows where he wants to put the car, and he will put it there, and he will keep you behind. So he's not going to be an easy person to pass. But once Borja does, if he doesn't lose too much time to Siebel, is Siebel going to be within catching distance over the rest of the 67-lap race?
Yeah, very much the Daniel Ricciardo of our Super League is Jarl Tyne. Although I think his smile only comes out when he's overtaking it. I think he's made a few enemies as well as friends in this league. I'm sure he'll be smiling if he can get any closer to Siebel. We still have, of course, potential weather to consider that might flip the race on its head. But let's talk a little bit now about Kirk, who's holding pace with these podium runners, doing an outstanding job in that eval once again, arguably one of his best first stints of the season.
Yeah, it's fantastic. 3.2 seconds off of the lead. I know, obviously, 5 laps have passed. That's nearly, well, it's closing up nearly a second a lap. But in the car that he's in, the way that he's doing it, oh, Borja Milan makes a mistake at the hairpin. That was close. He's definitely lost quite a lot of time there. Locked the rears a little bit coming into the hairpin. Drops back. Closes in, though, for Kirk, which means that Wright might actually be within DRS range, which would help him, again, pace-wise. Pulling away from Dennis Jordan as well. I wonder if Dennis has got a bit of damage on his car after the turn 1 incident. He's not pulled too far clear of Risto Capit. Still within DRS range there, the battle for 5th. Basically going all the way down to last, effectively. It's quite tight there.
While one Epic was locking up the rear brakes, another one got a move done. Fournier making his way past Pedro Gomez in the Red Archer, so that's for P8. And the Frenchman now looking to catch back onto the back of the Dutchman, Yuri Kasdorp, to try and further maneuver his way up the field. Looking back to Petter Burlak as well. I think out of all of the cars in that first corner melee, he was the one who suffered the most damage. He's made his way up to P13, so he's in the points, as Tobias Olsen looked to have had a spin at the final corner as well. That's moved him out of the points. But he's not making much edgeway on Erhan Yuyovski ahead of him. And I know that he's got a DRS train ahead, so once he gets into that DRS train, which he actually is now as it happens, he might be able to catch back up. But it's been a bit more of a struggle for Burlak to come into the top 10 again, as opposed to Fournier moving his way up the order within the top 10.
Yeah, I've just received a message from Mike Pittman who was telling me to factor in something about an added mapping for the boost on the Valiant engines.
Indeed.
Now, obviously, Valiant engines, ACL Zaxby, obviously. But then also, one of them is the Evolution, and the other one is the Eval, obviously the card that Kirk is in. So, potentially, that added boost mapping is helping Kirk out in that Eval car at the moment. But
Yeah,
could that mean that he'll be using too much fuel trying to stay up there?
Well, the engines and just the whole development side of the WTF1 Super League. I'll go out there. I'll state my name on, or I'll put my name on this statement. It is the most accurate Formula One sim racing league you will find. It goes development right down to the car, of the front wing, the weight, the downforce, right down to our engine manufacturers. And that Valiant engine, it's been a strong engine for the last few years, certainly seen so many race wins attributed to its power, to its reliability. Unique upgrade brought to it this week, which was extra mapping, which basically means that you don't have more of a boost mode or less of a boost mode. It means that you have more options in between, so you can micromanage it a little bit better. For the drivers who love their strategy, for the drivers who like to work by the decimals as opposed to the single numbers, it can certainly help out a lot. And I do wonder whether they brought that particular element in to combat the very good tyre savers like your Edge Esports and your Epic Racings.
Yeah, with that tyre saving, I wonder if that's going to come into to play for Peter Burlak, obviously down in 13th. So I see Andreas Waters has tuned in to the WTF1 Facebook broadcast. He obviously team manager, team owner of Edge Esports. Pete Burlak having the greatest start of the race, down in 13th position after a turn 1 instant. But yeah, so with that tyre saving that he's got, he could definitely make his progress potentially a bit later in the race, doing it through pit stops, through strategy, rather than having to do everything on track.
We've seen him perform the overcut an awful lot this season, and multiple times he has found success.
P7.
P7.
Oh!
I tune in to Jeffrey Fournier throwing his nose into the rear gearbox of Yuri Kasdorp. Not only that, but making his way through as well. The Frenchman is flying, and he's up to P7.
The rear gearbox, as opposed to
the front gearbox. You know, the one in the front nose cone.
Of course. The front nose cone as opposed to the rear nose cone. Yes. This whole argument.
Front wheel drive Formula cars make them happen.
Absolutely. But yeah, Jeffrey Fournier, they're up into 7th position now, right on the back of Risto Cappi. He'll be wanting to get by that pretty quickly. Again, excellent pace from Jeffrey Fournier. I'm assuming that he hasn't got too much damage on that car. I think he might have got off that one quite lucky. Peter Burlak's up into 12th position, gets past Erhan Yovsky. Now right in the back of Florian Guy. Again, excellent drive for Florian Guy, holding on to this 11th position very, very nicely in that Red Bull Street Fighter.
He is, he's doing a good job, but it tends to be, you can do a good job in the first few laps, but can you make it to the end of the race? That's been the big problem for Red Bull Street Fighter so far. And speaking of making it to the end of the race, I am shocked to see no retirements so far, as a lot of people actually come into the pits now. Olsen, Tida, and Horrell in already. Tida onto the softs, Horrell onto the super softs, and Olsen onto the super softs as well. Some early pitters, lap 10 of 67.
That is way earlier than I would have expected. I would be expecting this to be a 2, maybe a 3 stop. Yeah. I was not expecting anyone to come in this early. This is insane. I don't think anyone that'll cause any spooks towards the front of the field. But the pace drop off also isn't that high. We've had Alex Siebel started off with a 14.2, now currently on a 14.8 on his previous lap time. So pace drop off not too high. So there's nothing in my head that would suggest you requiring a pit stop this early in the race, unless you were doing it to get to a certain point because you were predicting rain. But again, we can't really do that, as Jarl Tyre goes straight on at turn 1.
And Hoekstra's in as well. So I mean, Hoekstra was P10. This isn't a massively tyre degrading circuit, Lewis, but it does have some elements which burn away at the tyres if you don't drive it correctly. And Wupke Hoekstra going onto the softs, much like Ben Horrell, I do wonder whether these guys are going to go for a soft run until the end of the race, maybe.
Yeah, but then if it is high tire degradation, it would mean you'd have to come in on the ultra softs that early. Then realistically, you wouldn't be able to get. I mean, we've done 15%. There's 85% still to go. So you need to go 42.5% of the race distance on these soft tires. And if the ultras can't do 15% of it, the softs surely cannot do 42.5. Surely not.
Well, my suggestion is...
Oh, bit of contact with the hairpin. Yeah, we're down in P20, P21. Yeah.
There's Cooper and Ayres, and Cooper losing out massively there, actually falling behind Hoekstra. What I'm thinking is because it's so early, a lot of the field is still close together. So if you're wanting to go onto a harder tyre strategy as Hoekstra goes wide in the Mercedes arena, you're actually going to be picking up the advantage of DRS if you're still close enough. As Kirk comes in from 4th.
Wow, that is a shock. That is very
Softs
early
as well.
Again. Pedro Gomez also in. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, also you get yourself into some free air, which might be handy, although you have to come through some slow people. Right, Jarl Tyen, Borja Milan, battle still on. Jarl Tyen came straight across the circuit to the inside, taking the shortest street round to the hairpin. He is not wasting any time with his defensive moves. He knows where he wants to put that car. Again, Borja Milan not quite close enough to make a move stick yet. But yet, I mean, this seems like it's inevitable.
Yeah, very much so. And actually, I'm thinking whether Jarl Tyen might just consider peeling into the pits now, just to try and get a fresh set of boots on, or maybe whether Milan tries the undercut.
Well, his pace drop-off, Jarl Tyen's pace drop-off is a lot higher than Borja's. I'm assuming there's been a couple of mistakes in the previous lap. Oh, what would you do if you were Borja Milan? I don't know how far these guys are expecting to go. With right kill coming through, and that might be a bit intriguing for these guys.
Epic and Edge have both brought the medium tyre. And in comes Tyen, and in comes Milan. Called it.
If I were Borja, if Jarl was coming in, I would have stayed out. The last thing you want to do, you're just going to be on his gearbox again.
Let's see what they go for. Because as I say, both these teams have got softs and mediums. Fournier,
Jordan
Fournier
in. Oh, that's the second round in a row they've done that.
Split strategy. Tyen comes out on ultras. Milan comes out on supers. Jordan out on supers. And Fournier out on supers. So Edge going very aggressive with this strategy. And where does Tyen filter back out? He's back in P7 and picking up the slipstream of Tom Parker ahead.
And Fournier's just come out right behind Menno Klomp. P17 is going to have to fight off one of the flag cards of Michael Ayres. He's got Florian Guy down the inside, who's also made his pit stop, which means Florian's done a good job on his stop. But Jeffrey Fournier came in again for this is the second week in a row we've seen this, right in on a gearbox of his teammate as they're doing a pit stop. So he would have lost half a second's worth of time there as we've got lots of combat going down. P13, check out this. Ricardo Costa, Dennis Jordan, very close to the hairpin as well. Pedro Gomez up into P13, very, very tight here at the hairpin. Hard battling between this lot. I see Ricardo Costa is on the medium tyres, obviously having to start from the back of the grid yet to pit. Alex Siebel into the pit lane. Risto Kappa's going to take the lead here.
He is indeed. Let's see what tyres Siebel goes on to. They've got all three softest compound available. And he mirrors a lot of the field. They've been going on to super softs. Kasdorp and Burlak following them in as well. Yuyovski, will Yuyovski beat Siebel out? No, so Siebel back out into P2, well ahead of Jarl Tyen, of which Tyen actually has to overtake Yuyovski.
Yuri Kasdorp, medium tyres.
But we've seen him doing this before. He loves his alternate strategies.
He's excited about this. Oh, look at this.
Oh, my goodness. Hello and welcome to the set of Star Wars. There's so much dogfighting going on here. And actually, Burlak has gained a lot through that pit stop. The overcut has worked again. He's just behind Dennis Jordan, who was well within the top 10. In fact, he's looking to overtake Dennis Jordan from inside the top 10. Down into the hairpin we go. And that was super easy. For the edge driver, clips the back of the Hawkeye, mind of Ricardo Costa, who slips on exit himself. There are 7, 8 cars in this battle. Some of them haven't pitted. Some of them have. It's a real mixture of strategies, and this is what we love to see here at the Super League.
Yeah, it goes from P8 of Pedro Gomez. Then we've got Hutchinson. Kasdorp obviously stopped on those medium tyres, looking to get ahead of this lot. Ricardo Costa yet to stop. Peter Burlak, stop. Dennis Jordan, stop. Whoopke Hoekstra, stop. Jeffrey Fournier right at the back of this, also stop. Florian Guy has not been able to keep up at this point. It's an absolutely insane battle as Erhan Yuyovski comes down the pit lane on those ultra softs.
Of course, don't worry, Risto Capit and De Vries follows him in. Risto Capit, remember, he's okay. He's on the super softs, and so he's going to be going a little bit longer than everyone else. But it is pretty damning, Lewis, to me, that he's leading Alex Siebel by only 2.2 seconds. If the pit stops remain as they are, as he has a little bit of a slip into the hairpin as well, he's going to be coming out of the pits outside of the top 10.
Yeah, I know. It's just, it's almost like it's worse to worse for Risto Capit. At least he's leading some laps. It's something which he's not done for a little while in Super League. Jarl Tyen, by the way, check out the gap between P2 and P4. Bearing in mind, these lot were not separated by more than 5 seconds. You've got Alex Siebel, and then Jarl Tyen, who was separated by 2 seconds. Borja Milan is absolutely miles back.
He got really caught out by
Exactly,
Yuyovsky on pit exit, and he's on a slower set of tyres to Jarl Tyen as well.
Yeah, Jarl Tyen set the fastest lap of the race as well, that 1:14.1, which I'm pretty sure is not going to hold up against Alex Siebel for much longer. as much as Alex Siebel was on that soft, super soft compounder tyre, I reckon, yes, he did go a little bit quicker, got to a 14.1. Jarl Tyen matched him on a 14.06, but I think Jarl's going to use his tyres a lot quicker.
Lead of the race, Alex Siebel. This shouldn't be too difficult for him. He's got DRS assistance as well to make his way past Risto Capit. How much further Risto Capit goes, I'll tell you what, Capit's going to be providing useful data to us to see just how far he goes. Siebel retakes the lead of the race, though.
Yeah, but I don't think Risto will be as kind to Jarl Tyen as he was there to Alex Siebel. No surprise there, purple first sector for Alex Siebel. It'll probably be a purple second sector as well, based on the DRS usage there as he comes through that second sector split. He's going to pull away here. Looking for that win. Oh, it wasn't a purple middle sector, but it's very, very quick.
Quicker than Tyen. That's the important
indeed.
thing. Tyen 2.4 seconds off the lead. Let's see if Capit comes in, because the Ultras and Supers, they are not too far apart as compounds in terms of actual endurance of those, of the rubber. And so Capit in from second. Going to be curious to see whether he goes on to soft compound tyres, mind, or whether he goes into another pair of Supers. Maybe he'll go alternate onto Ultras. No, he does go onto the softs, as expected. And so, really, we're coming to the end of our pit stop phase, barring Mark Hutchinson still going around on the super softs, and of course Ricardo Costa still going around on the mediums.
Peter Burlak, Risto Capit, very, very close there.
Burlak's beaten him out!
Yeah, Burlak 7th position at the moment. Risto Capit, Yuri Kazdorp, by the way, setting some really, really good times on those mediums. We have got an absolute, just a mess of compounds here in the top 10. We've got 5 super softs, we've got 3 softs, 1 ultra soft and 1 medium usage in the top 10 at the moment. So everyone going all over the place. Yuri Kazdorp using that trademark alternative strategy that he likes so much. We've seen him use this, not actually finishing with great success, however, you know, showing signs of potential at least.
It's really just about filling the potential. He needs to follow through on them. And of course, may rain yet arrive. We could see very different compounds coming throughout this race, as we are 25% complete, going on to lap 18 of 67. It is Siebel who leads from Tyen. Milan, Kirk, Gomez up in P5. The Portuguese driver having an outstanding race himself. Kazdorp, Burlak recovering well after that first corner incident. Capit, Jordan, Fournier now into the top 10 as Hutchinson comes in.
Hutchinson in a bit late there, obviously. The thing is, with the fact that these tyres aren't really lasting quite as long as maybe we'd expected, this is actually quite good for some of these guys if it rains, because it means the likelihood of you being caught out is actually, it's almost a little bit lower.
Yeah.
Because you're always on fresh rubber, you're always pushing hard, and when it rains, you can kind of push a little bit further. As Wipke Hoax is going to go down the inside of Ricardo Costa into the hairpin P11. Not quite going to make it stick, as Ricardo Costa is going to get a better drive out of the corner. Makes that one stick.
Hawkeye Drive doing an outstanding job to still remain up there, actually. He's got Florian Geyer all over the back of Hoaxer as well, though. So you've got to keep an eye on that one. Yovsky in there as well. And actually, as I scroll down the list of names, speaking of a poor retirement rate, Ben Horrell out again, unfortunately.
Yeah, his final season in Super League, as we know. Hanya Yovsky, Florian Guy, by the way, coming into the hairpin. Oh,
Hoaxer! That's not the racing line, and it's allowed Gaia through. He just about keeps ahead of Yuyovski.
Oh,
no doubt.
Thompson.
I was going to say, no doubt he'd be frustrated. Unfortunately, that's not the way that you constructively exude that. Michael Ayres benefits, and will Sven de Vries benefit in the storm? They go side by side down the home straight. He's got to concede Yuyovski. Indeed, he does. And de Vries is into the top 15.
Yeah, he's going to be able to attack from Tom Parker as well. He's going to go down the inside. Oh, I wonder if he's got some damage to that front ring as well. For Whoopke Hoekstra, great catch there. Is that Yuyovski? Yeah, definitely going to lose that position now after that slip of traction. Out of turn 2, down towards 17th position. He was just in 12th moments ago. Oh, it's tight in this Superleague field as Ricardo Costa slid at the hairpin again. A little bit there. I saw some rain there on my screen. I don't think it actually was. It might have been clipped. Oh, I'm seeing things now. I need the rain.
It's where the blah blah blahs they came out. You never know what's going to be happening as Yuyovski retakes P16. As you say though, it ebbs and it flows in Super League. You never really know what one mistake is going to cost you if you're miles ahead. Sometimes it will cost you absolutely nothing, but more often than not, a couple of positions they're probably going to go down the drain.
Starting out of the race, as we've just been told by race director. Yeah, out of the race again. Unfortunately, it's a shame for start. Actually, no, not. I say it again. I don't think he was out of the race last round, was he?
He's got a good finishing rate. He's just
he definitely finished Austria. Pedro Gomez, by the way, under heavy attack here for P5. Yuri Karstorp right in the back of him. Oh, sliding out of turn 2 there. He's going to be within DRS range. Might see him moving to the hairpin. Peter Burlack very close. Risto Capet a little bit too far away to get involved here, but Yuri Karstorp closing up now.
I didn't notice that the Edge Boys had actually gone on alternate strategies themselves, because Burlack's put on a pair of those super softs, of course, so he's going to be looking to go a bit longer than Tyen. We'll probably be expecting the Norwegian driver in actually in the next couple of laps or so. Of course, rFactor 2, brilliant simulator as Fournier falls down the order. And what's happened to Fournier? He's had a massive lag moment. His ping has just spiked to well over 1,000.
And getting it again.
I tell you what, both Epic Racing drivers have had multiple connection issues throughout this season. And Fournier, who had done such a good job to recover back into the top 10, if it doesn't sort itself out soon, his race is going to be over.
It's very dangerous for everyone else on the grid right now for that lagging car, because it is a bit too much. As I said, we had this last round at Silverstone. We had Baguettenet in full form, 10th position, out of nowhere. He's back up there. So
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Fournier. This isn't Back to the Future. You're not allowed to time travel, sir.
Yeah, no, I'm assuming the connection just needed a sector split update.
Maybe.
Or at least a lap split update, because now he's back to normal. The only problem is I fear he may have done some damage to other people throughout the grid. Because whilst he was lagging, when you lag like that, I believe you are still a physical object on the circuit that can be hit.
As de Vries on Ayres, P14 and 15 is Gaia massively outbraking, And de Vries goes down the inside of Ayres, and it's a double overtake. Yuyovski takes advantage of that, says thank you very much. And Ayres was basically told to get the tab for the entire of the group. He's down to P16.
Yeah.
As Gaia is now past Hoekstra.
yeah. I say Gaia's having a pretty solid result. I'm sure he's quite enjoying this, fighting up towards the points. Whether this will hold out for the rest of the Grand Prix, we're a third of the way through. He's still up in those points-paying positions, and I realise whilst I'm talking about him, I am completely jinxing him for the rest of the Grand Prix. Sven de Vries doing a great job as well, 14th position on his Super League return. Yuri Karstorp, again, very close. This battle in between them, by the way, has allowed Risto Capet to close in, has allowed Dennis Jordan to close in, has allowed Jeffrey Fournier also, after his incident with his internet, he's closed back in as well. So we're going to see this big old fight for the top 5. It's allowing Right Kilk, though, to pull away on the soft compound tyre.
And well, yeah, that's exactly it, isn't it? He's on the soft compound, one of the hardest brought to this weekend. Oh, this week, this Thursday evening. Don't judge me.
Insane, isn't it?
He's looking so good at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, it's night and day difference. I mean, he's a very good driver, but this is almost a bit out of the ordinary. If I was one of those top teams, you'd be looking down his way, down the paddock, seeing, wonder if he's available next season.
Siebel? He must have missed a timing sector.
Yeah.
Which I guess he must have gone wide at turn 1.
Well, we'll see when he crosses this. He's about to cross that split, and he's dropped even further back. Fantastic. That's going to get sorted. Don't panic, anyone at home. He is still in the lead of the race.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
I was, dare I mention, he did disconnect from
Spa.
the
Yes,
World
he
GT
did.
race just last week.
Cost the ACR Zaxby team the team's championship in the World GT. Ended up having Stax Racing win that one. Nico Barkley. Is it Nico Barkley?
Nico Barkley and Chris Shepherd, yeah.
And Chris Shepherd, yeah. Oof. Thought I got on very wrong there.
First team in GPVWC history to win a team's championship without a win. That's worrying.
Because he's still circulating fine, and his ping is still fine. However, for a disconnection, sometimes it can just be like the flick of a switch, just like that, and it's done. He'll cross the line again. Yep, straight back up into P1. We'll hope his internet holds out. But yeah, things. I'm sure Pittman will be tapping his feet on the ground there.
We will be keeping an eye on that, as
It'll be
unfortunately,
the Christian Horner leg shake, wouldn't it?
it would indeed. Andre Eneric, bad news for Red Archer. He's out the race on his Super League return as Pedro Gomez mounting the outside curbing on exit of turn 1 there, and this has put him under, if there wasn't already enough pressure, even more pressure as Ricardo Costa, interesting information there, coming in on lap 24 of 67 on those medium compound tyres. So they don't last forever.
Oh,
but
here we go. He's not quite close enough, is Yuri Kastor.
No. Oh, and that's a massive lock-up as well. But for me, that's 24 laps. Kastorp, when he pitted, if he went 25, he would be very near the end of the race. I think Kastorp is only going to need one more pit stop to finish this race.
Yeah, absolutely. I think other people might need, I think this might be a 2 or 3 stop strategy. But Yuri Kastorp, I would suggest, at least at this rate, he could do this on 1. Pedro Gomez. Oh, Yuri Kastorp's a little bit wide there, heading into the arena section. He's going to be under attack from Peter Burlack. Peter Burlack doesn't quite make that move. Stick Jarl Tyen into the pit lane of the Grand Prix. Oh, that is very interesting.
Well, he was the only man to go on to Ultra Softs for the second stint. And now he goes on to Super Softs. This is super aggressive from a team that is usually so good at conserving their tyres. But I tell you what, it's not too bad, is it, that he's out into P4 and, crucially, just ahead of that massive battle for P5.
Excellent timing. I'm assuming that Andreas or whoever's doing their strategy at the moment would have seen that spot in the traffic and just been like, we need to pit now, get out ahead of these guys, do some more damage.
Patel, isn't it?
Yes, it might be. Of course, FSR World Champion Peter Burlack going down the outside of Yuri Kastorp, and he's going to take that into the hairpin.
Oh, Siebel's out! Siebel's out! It was coming! Surely. Straight disconnection. Well. It was so consistent, you felt like something was going to go. And for the second time in 2 weeks, Alex Siebel disconnects from a race, which gives Borja Milan the lead from Kirk and Tyen, who is now back on the podium.
I'm going to say that puts Jarl Tyen on the catbird seat, because he has been insanely quick. Now, I know he's probably making one more pit stop from Borja.
This has thrown the race wide open.
I mean, it's an absolute shame there for Alex Siebel. Not able to make it ACR Zaxby 3 years in a row at the German Grand Prix. Oh, what a spicy one, though.
Oh, that you've got to feel for Alex Siebel, but then again, the argument is it server side or is it down to his internet connection? Sometimes that's just, out of your hands. But this isn't the first time it's happened this year. Of course, remember the first race of the Super League season, he was leading that as well. Disconnection, and took out Alex Cooper for company as well.
The fact that it's been 2 weeks back to back, obviously with World GT in here, is going to put a little bit of concern on the Gems. Also, it's home Grand Prix, isn't it?
You know what? I lie. Excuse me. Alex Cooper was lagging. That's what took Siebel out the race. But point of the matter is he has had connection issues before, and it has been raised as Burlack is indeed past Gomez. Big news there. And look at Edge Esports all of a sudden, P3 and P4.
Absolutely huge for the championship. I mean, Edge need to do a lot of work with that car to make it a little bit more competitive to get on ACR's level.
One of the weakest cars on the grid, would you believe?
Yeah, I cannot fathom this. I would have thought, like, surely after the French Grand Prix, you're like, yeah, they're going to be right up there now with ACR, maybe on alternative rounds, jumping up there, taking wins, and it's just not happened. This is their time. Something has happened now to Seaball, and they need to take full advantage of this. And realistically, I think for them, if they want to really go after this championship, we need to see both those Edge Esports cars on the podium.
For Epic Racing as well, they are just one driver away from both of their guys outscoring and outpositioning. That's not a word, never mind. Risto Capit in P7. He's been nowhere this race in terms of pace. I know he's on the alternate strategy. I know he's going longer than everyone else on these softs, but it doesn't it doesn't rule away the fact that he's still 13 seconds off the race lead and not looking like he's going to be making that back up.
No, I mean, you say Risto's been nowhere this race. I know, obviously, he finished second last time in Austria. But look at France, look at Great Britain. He was nowhere there either. Something is going wrong. And
right, P2, P3, by the way.
Yeah, right, Kirk, Yartine, really, really close. I said, if they're not careful at ACR Zach speed, that is going to cost them the team's championship. Yeah, but this is surely going to move from Yartine. Whoopke Hoster into the pit lane, by the way.
Yeah, that's an early stop on the soft tyres, mind, although he went from ultras to softs, I think. So maybe we'll be expecting Risto in soon. And Yartine moves his way through nice and clean on right Kilk. So that is pit stop. Check. He doesn't have to worry about that in regards to right Kilk anymore. Now it's all about making up the 7.3 seconds to Borja Milan in first as Yuri Kastorp finally makes his way past Pedro Gomez. The Portuguese driver is starting to struggle. And is Kappa going to get him around the outside of the Mercedes arena? What a nice move there from the Estonian. We might be throwing a bit of shade his way, but the boy knows how to drive.
Yeah, sure does. He's built up quite a lot of racecraft in his time. As he just needs to... It's almost like speed has been his issue, which is just unquestionable. Well, every round, like Silverstone, he was 4/10 off. This round, he was 5/10 off his teammate. It's like, what? How? How is that possible? Racecraft's not really been, his racecraft's always been fine. But yeah, anyway, up into 6th position right now, closing up to, it's in Bristow, now closing up right to the back of Yuri Kastorp. And we've just heard that rain might be floating around the area as Florian Geyer into the pit lane and onto the soft compounded tyre. He'll be leaving that pretty sharpish. He's going to come out behind Michael Ayres, though, in the flag to flag.
Yeah, indeed, and behind Ricardo Costa as well. He went onto the super softs from his medium tyres. I do also notice, Luce, that there's only one Hawkeye in the race. In fact, it's the lone car that's not made it to the grid today. So they really need Ricardo Costa to pull out something here as Fournier gets past Pedro Gomez, and that's because Gomez has been off at turn 8. He's really struggling with those soft tyres. I think he's going to be coming in very soon.
Yeah, surely. Yeah, Jeff Fournier, they're trying to make the best of that recovery drive right on the back of Dennis Jordan, obviously the person who caused that incident on the first lap, which would then mean, if he gets by, that both... Bill Milan, by the way, into the pit lane, onto the super softs.
So that allows Tyen through, into the lead of the race, Kilk through, Burlak through, and Milan will come out actually behind Yuri Kastorp, Risto Capit, and is he going to be behind Dennis Jordan as well? We're going to get to the hairpin. Jordan breaks very late, tries to go around the outside. It's not going to happen. And Milan will thankfully have DRS, but maybe this is a chance for Jordan to overtake the Spaniard as well.
Milan won't have DRS.
Yeah, he's got... Oh, no, he won't. You're absolutely right. When they crossed the timing beams, they were over a second, but... Or, well, I think it might be marginal. Either way, he stays ahead in P6, but, oh, that was not a great place to drop out.
No, it's not like when Yartine came out, he was just ahead of all this lot. Boar comes out, he's right in the middle of it. Does manage to stay ahead. The straight line speed of that car looks really, really good. So hopefully he'll be able to get up and past Risto and Yuri Kastorp, and we can have that maybe battle for the lead. We'll see what's actually going to happen on strategy here. Honestly, it's at that point in the race, you just don't know who's going to win it at all.
does Kasdorp only have one more stop to make? Because I think for the majority of guys now,
Surely.
we're expecting 2 more stops. I think the question is, can Kasdorp make those mediums last enough so that that 20 seconds, he doesn't have to worry about it. He's put himself in such a good position. P4 as Fournier comes in.
Yeah, I'd surely think that Yuri Kasdorp's only going to be on one more stop. Sven de Vries promoted up to 8th position. Fantastic drive so far.
On the soft tyres as well. So maybe he's going to be pitting soon himself. Actually, no,
Surely.
he didn't start there, did he? Who's that on the grass? Is that Yuyovsky? Yeah, it is. And it allows Gomez back through into P10. Fournier actually comes out behind. He's again, another epic racing car coming back out into traffic. That's been the story of their race so far. It's not that they've not had pace. It's that they've been dropping back into the worst positions.
Not to name names or rip into any, I'm pretty sure it's Tyler Parker, isn't it? On that pit wall, obviously.
I don't.
Commentator of World GT. He was. I'm pretty sure it was Tyler Parker who was on their pit wall for Silverstone.
It was for Silverstone. I don't see him in the server today.
Okay.
So maybe
we don't
our
have to
American
rip him a new
friend
one
can...
again.
To be fair, it was no harm done as Burlack's past Kirk into
in
the pit lane.
Mm.
Now he was on the soft tyres.
Yeah, stunning effort from Right Kill. Great stint onto the Ultras.
Ultras.
Hello.
Spicy boy. Hello. And what about
Dennis
Jordan?
Lane as well. He's going to come in, go onto the Supers.
That's not so spicy, is it? Let's be fair.
No, that's less spicy. We're disappointed in your spiciness, Dennis Jordan. It's your home race. Step it up. Spice it up. Tom Parker into the pit lane as well for Evolution. Comes in, he goes onto the softs. Less spicy. Need more.
Tell you what, that's a good pit stop for Kirk, though. He's come out literally in 10 seconds of clean air and well ahead of Sven de Vries as well. Could not have timed that any better.
Yovsky into the pit lane. He came in on mediums, obviously same as his teammate. Goes onto the super soft tyres, which makes you wonder if maybe that's the future strategy plans of Yuri Kasdorp as well. Also, I've just heard that Alex's whole internet has gone. Not RF2s, which is interesting that it was lagging around that much beforehand without any actual lag. A bizarre one.
Yuyovsky did have that off moment, so it's very possible that he damaged his mediums a lot more than what Kasdorp has done.
Very possible.
So, if you're an Edge Esports fan...
One of them's coming into the pit lane.
One of them's just coming into the pit lane. Could not have timed that any better, could I? Burlack in.
Supers.
And onto the super softs again. Not a surprise. He'll probably be pitting once more after this super soft stint. And where does he come out then?
Again. Oh, Borja Milan, Yuri Kasdorp. Borja's just got through now. Yes.
So
before the DRS, though, no. Is he going to have... Yeah, well timed for Borja Milan. Yeah, because he got DRS because he got it before the detection point. Yeah. Which means that Yuri doesn't have it, and he's got the move done. But very good timing there.
Look how much time he has lost, though.
Yeah,
Jarl Tyen is now 12 seconds ahead. Maybe this was the plan all along. Use the tyres in the first half of the race, and then use that car's natural and the driver's natural ability to save the tyres in the second half.
Yes, I mean, maybe. If not, you're just getting Jarl Tyen to do what he does best. Get in the car and drive it as quick as he possibly can. It's how he's won an Atlanta Series race. It's how he's won a Super League race, obviously Monaco earlier this year.
That was a great strategy call there as well.
Exactly, yeah. He's had 4 wins in Super Cup over his career.
Kasdorp in.
Yes, is he going to go on to the Supers, much like his teammate? I think he'll be surely mediums to the end. But it's not the great Supers. Boom!
He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. So
no,
the mediums
again.
It was a precaution to go on to the mediums. And really, the amount of laps he's done backs up. Only 20 laps on the mediums. We were expecting 25 at the very least. And he slots back into the race just behind Dennis Jordan. So it's not like it's been a bad race for Yuri Kasdorp, but that alternative strategy simply has not worked.
No. Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. He's still on a slightly different strategy to anyone else. He's got one more stop to do. Whether others do... Oh, very close with Dennis Jordan there, coming out of the hairpin. Dennis going to stay ahead. But what he's done is he's broken Dennis Jordan off the back of Fournier, which means he's now vulnerable for a move. He's going to try and make it stick around the outside of Mercedes. Not quite going to stick there. stays in 10th position. Dennis Jordan holds on to 9th position, keeps calm, keeps ahead at his home Grand Prix.
The German's really stepped up this year in the WTF1 Super League and showing his defensive struts this time around. It's not often that we see Dennis Jordan defending. He's usually in a world of his own. But that's some good and really respected battling between the two of them. As Kasdorp gets caught on the exit curb again, he must hate the Südkurve at this moment in time because he crashed out there in qualifying and he's just got caught out there again as Sven de Vries comes in. So Ricardo Costa from the pit lane, may I remind you, up into the top 10.
It's such an easy curb to get yourself locked on because once you get 2 wheels up onto it, it's like a magnet. Right, it will just take you and it will pull you along and drag you straight off. And generally, 9 times out of 10, dump you in the wall. Yuri Kasdorp's got away from that, thankfully, but has lost quite a bit of time to the back of Dennis Jordan. He's going to use probably quite a bit of these tyres trying to catch up. Maybe a little bit too much. We'll have to wait and see. But he realistically needs to get to 3/4 to the end and then pit again for some more supers. Oh,
so we're over halfway through this race then. Must be warning, this isn't going to be the final order by any stretch of the imagination, but as things stand, Jarl Tyen leads by 11.3 seconds from Borja Milan. Capit on a very alternative strategy now, running P3 with Kirk, Burlak, Gomez, Fournier, Jordan and Kasdorp rounding out the top 10, of course, points. So they run down to 15th here in the WTF1 Super League. And so the rest of those point scorers at the moment are Costa, Hutchinson, Ayres, Gaia, De Vries, and Parker.
It's times like this when you just need to take your strategy and trust your strategy. You can't be sitting there asking questions about what's happening with everyone else. Jarl can't be sitting there going, oh, but what's happened with Borja? What's happened with this? What tires is he going to be on? What times are you doing? What's this? What's that? He just needs to get his head down, focus on the laps that he's doing, focus on the strategy that he's on, and get the car to the end. Because the moment you start asking questions and start focusing on what everyone else is doing, it's the moment that you are liable to a mistake.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a mistake that well. Would it be a mistake of me, Lewis, to think that Jarl is definitively saving tyres right now? Because Milan is reeling him in currently. Gap almost down below 10 seconds now.
Yeah, maybe he's looking after his tyres. Maybe he's trying to sort of conserve them a little bit. Maybe aiming for one more stop, perhaps, in the Edge Esports campus. Say Mohammed Patel. Behind the scenes there at Edge Esports, we did have, I had confirmation of that from Mr. Andreas Waters, who was telling us, yeah, definitely Mo Patel behind the scenes, guiding this strategy. Obviously, well experienced in his open wheel strategy. Is Patel potentially one who we would like to see in Super League at some point? Mark Hutchinson enters the pit lane. But yeah, master of strategy. I'm sure he's got things under control at Edge, but Borja Milan, he's going to be pushing to say no to that, isn't he?
You know, I'm going to throw this one out there again. They're on, well, Jarl Tyen's on Super Softs, Milan also on Super Softs. These teams also brought to this race the medium tyre. I've been doing my research. The longest medium tyre stint from a fast driver was Ricardo Costa at 23. And we are currently now on lap 38 of 67. So, knowing how good Edge and Epic are on their tyres, are we to say that actually they do only have one stop left and Jarl Tyen is not only leading this race, but leading this race on merit?
I would suggest that you're probably right. I would say that Jarl's probably aiming for a single stop rather than aiming for two. You know, he's now got into that point where he's got a 10-second lead. He's got something to control, something to look after, and he'll be aiming to look after that as we've got right kilt coming on to Risto Capet, moving himself up onto the podium position. Heading down to that hairpin, obviously ultra soft tyres for the Eval Motorsports car. He's up into third. Risto Capet behind now fourth. Peter Burlak right behind as well. Big stuff for that team's championship, for the Constructors' Championship in the WTF1 Super League.
I'm slightly worried for Wright because they've brought the softest compounds available, so they've only got a soft tyre to go to. And that's a bit of a stretch on these ultras. I'd probably wager to say that Kirk's going to be having 2 more stops before the end of this race, which may very well end up being an ultra stint. Capit, he's in a similar situation, but he's been running these soft tyres for how many laps now? He's been on them for a while. Yeah, 21 laps. And so Capit might have to either stretch another set of softs a long way, or he's going to have to resign himself to another 2 stops as well. Of course, Burlack in the same boat as his teammate Tyen. He's going to probably be going on to the mediums until the end.
Woo!
So
That was a moment.
It was a bit of a moment, wasn't it? But Edge could find themselves on for a double podium here with a win to boot. Now Burlack looking to get even closer to that goal around the outside of Risto Capit. DRS well open, and that's one of the easiest overtakes he's going to make all season long. Peter Burlack up at 4th.
I did say if Edge want to show that they want this championship, that they need to really get up this championship, today is the perfect day. We've got Alex Siebel out of the race. Surely we've got to be aiming for a double podium. I know obviously with what's happened with Burlack in the early parts of this race, with the incident at turn 1 between himself, Jeffrey Fournier and Dennis Jordan. He needs to shake that off, and he has done. He's now aiming for that podium, which he is doing. The car's quick. The strategy seems to be right. They should surely get both cars onto the podium here. And if they do, maybe there is some hope for that championship.
I reiterate, 100 points exactly between ACR Zaxby and Edge Esports going into the German Grand Prix. As things stand, ACR Zaxby scoring 10. No, I lie. 11, with Risto Capit in 5th. Burlack and Tyen scoring 38.
And 25, yeah.
So that's a quarter of ACR Zaxby's lead wiped out.
Yeah, and it's rounds like that. I say, a round like this, when something like that happens, you need to take advantage. You need to grab it with both hands, and you need to go for it. There can be no, oh, well, they had a bad round, so it's kind of saved us, you know, so we've not had a great round. This is the perfect time to push even harder to get that result.
So these two have been at it all race. Pedro Gomez and Yuri Kazdorp down in P8 and P9. They've got Ricardo Costa for relatively close company, but Costa is very near the end of this stint now. He's had 16 laps on that pair of super softs. He might be able to go on to a set of mediums and go to the end of the race though on his next stop. So maybe a top 10 is possible for Costa, but Gomez and Kazdorp very close as Capit's in. Now this is going to be the decider. Is he going to be 2 stopping to the end, or is he going to be 1 stopping here? It is soft. He's going to try and make it to the end.
He's learned from Simoncic. He's going for that strategy that Simoncic tried to pull. Obviously, it was only a 1 stop.
Laps on soft,
but
though.
How many times do you just do? He would have done 23, 24, doing those couple of extra laps at the end. Not going to be too difficult. It's only a couple of laps further. You're going to see him go to the end, for sure.
He's going to be struggling.
Oh, here we go. Yuri Kazdorp, Pedro Gomez. Straight around the outside. Clap, clap, clap. Well done.
Beautiful move from the Dutchman, who makes his way up to P7. He is now 2 seconds off Dennis Jordan. I do not think that P6 or indeed P5 is too out. The question is, Tyen is in. And surely it's going to be the mediums.
Oh, but is it though? Oh.
Excuse
Ultras,
me?
hello.
Excuse
boy,
me?
maybe he didn't think he could get mediums to go that far. Again, we're getting Yol time to try and do that aggressive strategy. Oh boy, has this just got interesting.
Super well timed again, by the way, just out ahead of Kirk. But excuse me? What? So it's got to be ultra until the end. And I'll tell you what, that's going to put Borja Milan in a very precarious position. This is saying to Epic Racing, hi there, we're Edge Esports. This is our Joker card. How do you respond?
Do you know what? I think that is brilliant strategy, actually. Because when Borja comes in, Yol's going to be out on track still, obviously. He's going to be on the ultras, obviously. He's going to be pushing as hard as he can. So when Yol comes in for that stop, I mean, I'm assuming Yol is going to catch up that 6-second gap on this stint anyway. And whilst he's got that
5 tenths already.
Exactly. He's going to catch up that bit. And then when Borja's trying to go to the end, he's going to come in, get on some ultras. So we've got not only an exciting end to the race, we've got Jarl Tyen doing some amazing lap times. I think doing this is actually, weirdly, as much as it doesn't look it, he's cut second in 2 sectors. Weirdly, as much as it doesn't look like the safer strategy, it's actually the safer strategy.
He's got Epic Racing up against the wall with a gun, and he said, pick which limb you want me to shoot you in. Then we'll see how we get on in a fight. I agree. By the sector, Lewis, I agree with you. That is absolutely brilliant from Edge Esports. Because no matter what way you spin it now, if Borja Milan pits, he's either got to go onto one of the softer compounds, in which case he's on exactly the same strategy as Tyen, which means that Tyen leads the race. Or, oh, and he's been held up as well! There's been an incident between, I think, is it Klont and Tida? Yeah, okay. And so for the second time in 2 races, Milan encounters back markers that hamper his progress. It's now been cut down to 2.7 seconds. If he goes on to the mediums, he's going to be running out by the end of the race.
Oh, Klont was just in the middle of the road. We had a discussion about this, Mano.
They've got to get out of the way for Tyen now. You've got to get out of the way, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Like
Tyen, good back marking.
Tida straight out of the way. Yeah,
I
mean, Klont, when Borja came around the corner, Klont was just sat in the middle of the road, obviously trying to recover. If you're gonna sort out positions, if you're gonna try and drop back, get ahead of, do it well away from the racing line. Don't do it on the racing line. It's a live circuit, right? It's dangerous as. Oh, if I was Borja Milan, I would have absolutely punched something right now.
That's incredible, isn't it? It worked. It was as if the gift of life was given to Jarl Tyen. The gift of the race was given to Jarl, saying, you've been really bold. We're going to really, we're going to give you a million quid for that, because that was brilliant. And unfortunately for Epic Racing, I do feel for them, because they didn't deserve, I mean, of all people to suffer that again, Borja Milan.
Do you want to know what I think might be on the cards?
Go on.
Edge Esports 1-2.
Burlak is very close to Kirk.
Exactly.
Both of these guys have to pit.
And Borja Milan is not that far up the road. And he's got to battle right Kirk into the pit lane on those ultra soft tyres. Clears Peter Burlak for that 3rd position. I think Peter is going to be able to do this, as 9/10 separates the lead of the German Grand Prix here.
Milan, very ginger, out of that corner. And has he just escaped the DRS zone? I think he has.
He has. I think Tyen went straight on at T1.
Yeah. And let's see, actually, I need to check what tyre Kirk's come out on. Kirk's come out on the soft compound. So he's gone very conservative.
23
But you're right,
laps
he has gone to the end. Yeah.
He's going to go to the end, yeah. Risto, also we know, should be going to the end. I'd say Risto, right, we have 2 main ones higher up in the field who should be going to the end of this Grand Prix. Obviously, both on the soft compound tyre, 23 laps to go in this race. Right, should be able to do that. No questions asked. But again, Tyen, there we go, 6/10 of a second. Now separates it. He's been very careful of the curbs, I've noticed, as Jarl.
Been taking notes from the Formula 1 drivers in Austria.
But to be fair, these ones do instantly spin you, which is great fun.
Oh my goodness, these two boys learn how to backmark, for goodness sake. Burlak's been held up a second as well. Goodness me. If you're going to be in Super League, and if you're going to be slow in Super League, learn to drive as a backmarker, for goodness sake. That's the second driver in the top 3 that's been affected by that now. Just because they've got a silly squabble.
Again, I mean, we had this discussion after the round, because obviously you said some interesting things in the broadcast for some of these guys. I'm sorry, battle for the lead, or battle for the top 5 positions, battle for the top 10, whatever.
Tyen's through, sorry. To the hairpin, that was as easy as could be. I think that was inevitable, as you said, Lewis. And so now, the whole pit stop gap has been eliminated. And I think for Borja Milan now, his best bet is to try and match Tyen as best he can and go on to the softest compound available. And
try and stay ahead of Peter Burlak and stop him being Edge Esports 1-2. But yeah, if the battle for whatever's on the lead lap is more important than what is on the lap going down, that's just the rules of racing.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're 1 lap down, and you're coming up to someone who's 2 laps down, your battle is more important than theirs. Right. It's quite simple. I'm not saying that like, you know, it doesn't matter, because obviously it does. All positions matter. But I'm just saying there is a hierarchy of importance there. And there is a reason that blue flags exist in motorsport.
Just to give you context, ladies and gentlemen, they're battling for plumb last of the runners, 22nd and 23rd. I know it's a case of pride, but it's
not good enough.
Needs a review. It's as simple as that. If they're going to keep on holding up back markers. But anyway, let's look at the positives of this race. We are now 70% way through, and the big question.
69%.
I'm rounding up. Like, give me a break. Goodness me. Yuyovski into the pits. Yuyovski surely out of the pits on medium. Forget which tyres Adonis have brought.
Mediums.
Going to the end. I guess the big question for these guys is simple. Tyen and Milan, we know they've both got 1 stop left. It's just a question of them going on to the Ultras, I guess. Although, let's have a look. How many laps has Milan been on those super softs? He's coming to the end of his stint, mind. He might have to go on to another pair of supers.
I think he will have to go on to supers, yeah.
Which again would just be checkmate, given that Tyen's got to go on to the Ultras. The one that's interesting for me is Petter Burlak, because he still has another 5 laps or so to go on these pair of super softs. He is going to be rapid at the end.
Yeah, I think he's going to go on to Ultras. This is why I say I think a 1-2 is absolutely on the cards, as Bohan Milan got a bit more traffic here. Dennis Jordan into the pit lane. Tobias Olsen is Bohan Milan's traffic, by the way. Should be able to get out of the way pretty sharp, pretty easy. Pedro Gomez also into the pit lane for those last stops. Dennis Jordan leaves on the super soft tyres, which is going to be tight again to the end, although 90 laps should be fine. Pedro Gomez onto the softs again, should be fine straight to the end of the Grand Prix. Yes, things are very interesting. It's Edge at the moment, followed by an Epic, followed by an Edge, followed by an Epic.
It's more which order do that, or do they come out in? Yeah.
And where Right Kilt's going to be in all of that.
Of course, because he's only 21 seconds off the race lead. So technically, he's going to be ahead of Bohan Milan on pit exit. If we go by the bog standard, 20-second for a pit stop rule.
Yeah, no, it's not 20 seconds for a pit stop.
A little bit less.
Milan in the pits. Yeah, Milan is in the pit lane now, so he's going to go probably onto the supers. Yeah, supers. Then leave the pit lane. I'm assuming he's going to be ahead of Kirk, but not by much, as Kirk. Milan's just come out of his pit box. Jeffrey Fournier into the pit lane again. Right, Kirk come down towards the end of the pit lane. Bohan Milan out of the pit lane. And right, Kirk behind Bohan Milan.
Although Yuri Kasdorp's looking quite eager, isn't he? Of course, Kasdorp still has to pit again. He's probably going to be in next couple of laps or so onto another pair of super softs.
Or he can go a little bit further and go to the Ultras.
There is the potential for him to do that, actually. He's only done 15 laps.
He did 13 on the Ultra, and I reckon he might be able to stretch that a little bit further.
Well, plus he's on 15 laps for the super softs. So he's got a few more. He's got a bit of wiggle room on this.
Plus less fuel at this point in the race, which is less tyre wear.
Plus more grip on the circuit, which means less tyre wear.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I reckon he could go on the Ultras and get to the end. Should Adonis choose that strategy?
Now, Tyen choosing not to respond to Bohan Milan, and rightly so as well. He knows that he's got enough life in these Ultras to keep on going until a point where he pits onto another set of Ultras, and then he's got another tyre compound advantage over Milan.
Yeah, I think the battle between Milan and Tyen is done. I think Tyen's got this one. I think the battle
Burlak versus Milan.
Exactly. I think that is the battle, and I think that battle is going to come down to the last few laps here.
Burlak is going to be in next few laps, so he's leaving it as late as possible so he can get the maximum out of those ultra soft tires. When he comes out of the pit lane, he is going to be a bit away though, as Kirk and Kasdorp. So Kirk's coming through, of course, on those fresh soft compound tires. What a drive from Right Kirk. P4, that would be his highest finish of the season. His highest finish, certainly, since China, where he took P5.
Yeah, it's fantastic, fantastic drive here. I always say, I think Yuri Kasdorp might be coming down pit lane
Now,
this lap.
yeah.
Maybe.
Also, let's just spare a thought for Burlak got knocked off at the first corner.
Yeah.
He lost about 10 seconds, as you're absolutely right. Kasdorp in, presumably for ultras, conservatively for supers. Let's take a little look as he rolls that Adonis in. Risto cap it up to P5. As a result of that, a little bit haphazard, and he does go safe with supers until the end.
Sorry, just 2 quick points. Number 1, fast lap of the race just done by Borja Milan. However, I think that is about to be absolutely smashed by Tom Parker. Comes out of the final corner. This will be a 13-1, I think. 13-1-9 for Tom Parker. So Tom Parker, fastest lap of the race, down in 14th position.
On the soft compound, may I add. Tom Parker, he loves to go for those fastest laps. The good news for the Englishman, he's actually still in the points as things stand as well. And surely he's going to the end. Yeah, he's bolted on a fresh set of soft side.
Burlak is going to be coming in the pit lane.
Yeah.
There he comes, straight down.
Lap 52 of 67. It's got to be ultras. It's got to be ultras.
Or it could be Maybelline.
Maybe I'm worth it. Who knows?
It's ultras. Boom.
Purple. Borja Milan goes through. Now, does he get out? Does he get out ahead of Kirk? Does he get out ahead of Kirk? No, he does not. Kirk beats him out. Positive for Burlak. He is 2 compounds softer than what Kirk has. As sweet a moment as this is for Eval to be in the podium spots on pure pace, it's not going to last. Let's be fair. The gap that we're looking at,
mate.
P6.
P6. Sven de Vries, Dennis Jordan, Jeffrey Fournier. Here we go. Dennis Jordan going to get himself up into 6th position, surely here. But Jeffrey Fournier is very close and might take advantage still. Sven de Vries not going to try and hold it around the outside. He's probably going to go for the cutback. Not quite going to work. Sven de Vries down to 7th.
I am not confident about the state of de Vries' tyres by the end of this race if he's planning to go to the end. 17 laps. I mean, he's just been taken on by Fournier as well. If I was Sven de Vries, I'd pit now, bolt on ultra softs and leg it.
Absolutely bomb it, yeah. I'd agree with that. I mean, I remember a Super Cup race in Hungary where you slated him on the broadcast for trying to do the sprint races in 2014. He tried to do the sprint race in the whatever the softest compound tyre was back then.
It was the soft compound tyre.
Yeah, it was just soft and hard, I think, back then. Simple days.
It's still soft and hard now. It's like, oh, colours and everything.
Yeah, he pushed it a little bit too far, ended up having a puncture on the last lap out of the third to last corner at the Hungary ring. Oh, and James Kirk, you absolutely ripped him a new one on the broadcast.
Deservedly so as well. Burlak makes his way through on right Kirk there. So Burlak back up into the podium. Now it is all about the hunting party. 5 seconds in 15 laps. Can Pedro Burlak make it up?
Absolutely possible. As Sven de Vries drops another position. Pedro
why is Parker pitting?
Drive through?
Parker, no. Parker's only been on those. Actually, it must be a stop go. Because he's only been on those soft tyres for 3 seconds.
He's crashed.
Oh, and tie-in in?
Yeah,
oh, yeah, of course tie-in's in. Yeah, he hasn't pitted yet. I forgot about that. Whoops.
Yeah, he's out of the pit lane. Boy, Milan's going to be behind him.
Out in the lead. There you go. There you go. And who's that coming out ahead?
Tom Parker.
So that is Tom Parker. Now, hopefully Tom Parker's going to show us all how proper back marking is done.
He's an experienced man, this Mr. Tom Parker. Peter Burlak, fastest lap of the race. That was a second quicker than Borja.
12.9! That is rapid.
And purple first sector as well.
Is that the lap record?
No. I've got it on the 2D track guide. It's a 12.8.
Was it a 12.8?
It was a 12.8.
The fastest I see is a 16.4.
Oh. Okay, then yes, it will be. The 12.8 will be the fastest lap of all time around here, then I'd assume.
Yeah.
Although we beat that in qualifying, so who knows? I don't know.
fastest lap in race was all the way back in 2006. Steve Elensevsky for Finos, the great Finos team, multiple constructors title winners, 16-4. To be fair, all of these drivers have been absolutely smashing that.
Yeah, literally
but
for the race.
Burlak, the current lap record holder in race.
Although Yuri Kazdorf, oh no, he's dropped off. Never mind. Yuri Kazdorf set the fastest first sector. Yeah, no, never mind.
Oh,
never mind.
mind you, look at this. He's only 3.5 off now. Burlak destroying the gap between himself and the Spaniard. It could be the first ever Edge Esports 1-2 in their history.
Oh, I'll take
As
full
the Vries
credit
does
for
have to
calling
pit
it before it happened.
You did. You are the
full credit.
prognosticator.
Thank you. Get me an Edge
Ultras for
Esports.
the Vries. Michael Ayres also bolting on Ultras. So this is very much now. Everyone has had their final stops. Tyen leads by 3.8 from Milan, who's only 3 seconds ahead of Burlak. Kirk, Capit, Fournier, Jordan, and those two are very close mind as well. Gomez not too far behind. Kazdorf, Costa from pit lane. Is in P10. Fantastic stuff from the Portuguese driver. De Vries 11th, Jajowski, Ayres, Hutchinson, and Gaia still in P15. Still 2 seconds ahead of Paolini. Could it be an unfathomable consecutive point score situation for Red Bull Street Fighter?
No.
They haven't even consecutively point scored between the two cars.
Yeah,
This would be massive.
It would be huge. I mean, it is only 15th position, so it's not like it's 100 points. But for that team, they need to start getting points on the board. And Florian, he's been determined. We spoke to him after the race. He said he's not giving up on this team. He said he's sticking with this team no matter what. I'm sure he's getting stressed. I'm sure it's not the greatest scenario. It's not where he wants to be. However, we are seeing some slight gains within that team. We've seen them, battling in the top 15 all season. Next season, we know that Ben Horrell is not going to be in that team. Who is going to be that second driver?
I think it's Martini, isn't it? Because they've said that they've loaned Martini out to Hawkeye. So in theory, it should be Gaia Martini, whatever division they're in. But looking more likely that it's going to be Mad Cape, potentially facing the trapdoor. I know it is only a point, but given that it is 4 points to what would eventually be 10 points, that's how much they've scored in half a season.
Yeah.
Not looking good for the second half either.
No. I think we'll see Red Bull Street Fighter make a little bit of gains towards the end of the season and stay within the WTF1 Superleague for 2019. That lineup, maybe being honest here, maybe Martini's not the right driver to be in that team. Maybe he is. I'm sure there's a lot of discussion there with who's going to be in that second seat. All I know is that if you can get a solid second driver for Florian Gaia, and then he can start making some progress with that car, with the season, getting someone who can also get out there scoring points to him, that team will move towards the front of the championship. I mean, screw it. Try and sign David Fidek. Get those two back.
Well, not jokingly, just throwing it out there as a potential point of debate, as devil's advocate, sign a lead driver for Florian Gaia.
Yeah.
Show a bit of ambition. We'll wait and see. Certainly showing ambition is Petter Burlak. The gap now down to under 2 seconds between himself and Milan. We're on to lap 58 of 67. 9 laps to overtake Milan. I don't think it's going to be a problem getting up to him. It's just a question of overtaking.
Oh, and we do know that Epic car is quick in a straight line. Ooh, spicy.
Good end to the race. It has
Sven
been,
de Vries, purple first sector, by the way.
Hello.
Yeah, he was and green in the middle sector as well. So I think Sven de Vries. Oh no, he's lost a load. I think.
You think?
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to look at like his live sector. I think he's lost quite a bit in that third sector. Crosses the line. I just want to see if he was at the fastest lap of the race. 13-0. Oh, he's getting
close.
There.
Close. No cigar. Still Petter Burlak with that fastest lap. For those who are interested, as Fournier gets past Risto Capit. Well, I didn't see Fournier and Jordan actually catching up to Risto, but they have, and one of them's now overtaken them. Fournier into 5th, Capit down to 6th, And Dennis Jordan is right on the rear of the Estonian as well.
And that gap shrinks ever more in the championship.
Because that's now 41 points to 10. I mean, by the end of this race, it could be 45 to 10. Maybe 45 to 9.
Wait, maybe 45. No, 7th position. Yeah, so yeah, 7th position.
Numbers.
9, yeah.
Maths.
Absolute quick maths.
All
2 +
kicking
2
off here.
is 4.
Groundbreaking here on the WTF1 Super League.
But here we go. P2, P3.
P2, P3. Yeah. We're getting there, aren't we?
He is
in DRS zone.
Great sector splits as well, is Pete Burlack. I mean, he is pushing on rapid at the moment. Yeah, within a second, within that DRS range. But is it actually going to have to come in the DRS zone? Because as I say, we think that Epic Racing car is pretty quick in a straight line right now. Is it going to have to come somewhere else? Is it going to have to come from a slightly ballsier move within the arena section?
My counter-argument to that is consider the tyre compounds as well. Burlack has, simply put, more grip out of every corner. And with Milan bolting on those super softs earlier, the degradation rate is going to be about the same. They're on equal ground, but at this point in the race, when the rubber is still relatively fresh, Burlack by far has the advantage.
Look at the speed advantage that he's got. He's closed right up 0.4 of a second as they're going to cross this line. Absolutely tiny gap. Through turn 1, there you go. Tom Parker out of the race. Unfortunately, obviously, he had that crash earlier. Set some really good lap times. Oh, P-Bell actually hit the back of him. He's gone straight on at turn 2. That's huge. That's surely... Oh.
Burlack rolled, and he rolled snake eyes. The gap is back up to 1.6 seconds.
It's not over, mate. That is not over.
Lap 60 of 67. He will be back for more. The question is he going to find a nice, rewarding meal at the end of it, or is he going to get just desserts? We are going to find out in the next few laps, that is for certain. What a crucial mistake to... He had second place in his hands, and he threw it away. Zohan Yujovski's in again. Why?
Yeah,
oh, did he?
All gone.
Bizarre. He's only done 12 laps on the mediums. He should have gone to the end of the race. But what that means is that Guy has gotten another point to his name, and Dino Paolini snuck in. Let's have a word, actually. We've not mentioned them all race. For Nordsen. David Feiduk not even in the points. Is that the first time Nordsen have non-scored this season?
Surely.
It will be the first time that Nordsen have non-scored this season.
Let's see if I can find a better stat than that. When was
you want to see how far back it goes?
When was the last time Nordsen had a non-score? I will pull that up and I will give you some deets on that one.
I'm going to take a punt. I'm going to take a punt, Lewis. Canapino Davis.
Ooh, 2015. When was that? That was
2014. Yeah, Canapino Davis, I bet you.
Well, that'll be interesting. I mean, when the site loads, I'll give you some more information. At the moment, we've got to focus on what's on track whilst this loads.
Wilkie Hulkster actually going for fastest lap as well now. They're all going for trying to set the fastest ever lap record in a race around the Hockenheim ring. 90% of this race completed. We are in for a barnstormer of a finish, ladies and gentlemen. If you're still with us, if you've been with us since the beginning, hope you're enjoying it as much as we are. We absolutely adore the WTF1 Super League, and I tell you what, I find it quite a shame that I'm not actually going to be here for the next one. I'm going to be out of country, unfortunately. So I'll try to watch from wherever I am in the world. Oh, it is under 1 second. Burlack has DRS once again.
Whereabouts are you? In Germany?
What, for the Hungaroring?
For next round, yeah.
For next round, I'm in Austin, Texas.
Austin. Oh, right. RTX. I see.
Yes.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
It's going to be
Maybe you can find a backstage area to watch it like me and you did back in Germany.
Maybe.
That honestly was where like my love for this restarted again, because from then on it's like, yeah, we need to get on this. It's so good.
I'll probably be out at dinner by then, actually. It's weird. It's the other way around, because it'll be much earlier in the day for me to watch the broadcast. Either way, we digress. We're talking about my holiday when we should be talking about the wonderful, pleasurable action that we're seeing out on track here. Burlack wasn't able to make much inroads this lap in terms of DRS and a potential chance to overtake, but It is now 0.5 of a second between himself and Milan. We're going to be heading on to lap 63 of 67. 4 laps left to do it.
I have your stat, by the way.
Go for it.
Right,
Shoot
so
it at me.
now I'm not counting for ones where they've had both cars on the track, but there was a disqualification from Tom Jacobs, who was the only car at the British Grand Prix in 2014. So that was technically the last time they left a round without scoring a point.
So it was 2014, but not the
2014.
2014 race I was thinking of.
No, there wasn't actually a race in 2014 other than that one where they didn't score points. Fun fact.
Interesting.
And outside of that,
There
the
you
last one would have been years ago.
Now, Milan has been hugely helped out by one of the aforementioned Norwegians. David Fidix had to come into the pit again. And as a result, Borja Milan's picked up DRS to defend his position. Of course, Fidix is going to have to move out the way in a little bit. The 2 times Super League champion, may I remind you, being lapped. Oh, and into the Mercedes arena, Milan really starting to struggle on those tyres. But Burlak, his tyres are surely going to be eating away now as well.
Yeah.
As much as he's got a few laps to try and make this move stick, every lap that goes by is going to become harder and harder.
Yeah, also, now I see you've got me into my stats now. I just had a look. The last time they had 2 cars and didn't score, 2006, the Spanish Grand Prix. 12 years ago was the last time they had 2 cars and didn't score with either. I think.
Well,
that is insane.
I'm shell-shocked, but I've got to keep talking because battle is on. Burlak in the DRS zone. Milan, I don't think Milan caught the DRS that time around. No, he did not. And so he is at the mercy of the Croatian driver, Petar Burlak, on the outside of the hairpin we go. Oh, Milan goes very deep indeed, but he manages to cut Burlak off on exit. That's brilliant defending from the Spaniard. Burlak looking on the inside. Oh, wow, that's super tight through there. Mercedes goes to the inside. And that's a fantastic move by Petar Burlak. What outstanding craftsmanship from Burlak. Wow, Burlak. Amazing driving.
And as you talk about that, P6, P7, Dennis Jordan just gets up the inside of Risto Capit. Yuri Kastel, by the way, has dropped down to 9th position after a mistake. I think it was a half spin involved. Risto. Oh, Ricardo Costafender Vries. Massive crash down at the hairpin. I do not know what's happened, but he is off. No front wing on that car. Huge crash, goes down the escape road. Suspension is absolutely broke on that car. Absolute shame. 63 laps of 67, and he may be looking for a retirement.
He just lost it under braking. His rears went. And so that might be a point score for Storm down the drain. He's got to get a front wing, remember. So that's going to be a longer amount of time. That could allow Erhan Yujovski back into the points. But
he's not. He's got massive suspension on that car, huge crabbing. He's probably not going to get to the end of the race, let alone in a decent position.
That is a real shame.
That's it.
And he's out with brake failure. So his brakes fully went.
That would explain why he
Incredible.
lost it.
He becomes our 6th retirement of the day at this late stage. For Florian Gaia, goodness me, 13th position.
Dizzy heights. Dizzy heights.
Is that the highest point score? No, they had an 11th. They had an 11th at Azerbaijan. So it's not the highest, but it's huge points for them in the context of this championship. Of course, they've had a lot of luck along the way, and you could argue that no one has had more luck in this race than the man who's leading it now, Jarl Tyen. He's on the penultimate lap. Was he gifted the win because of this Alex Siebel disconnection, or has he earned it? Is it a combination of both, Lewis?
I'm going to say that if Alex was here, Alex would win. I think his pace, what he was showing before, it's just so strong. He is an incredible driver throughout the consistency and what he's doing. He's so focused. So I think, yes, he's been gifted it. However, when it did happen, he just kept his head calm. He was like, right, I've won a race before. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to do it again. And he just went for it. Absolutely pounding. Right strategy. Took maybe a little bit of a gamble on the Ultras. Ooh.
Call 911. We've got a fire out on track. Mark Hutchinson's engine has blown in the flag to flag. That car was super close to the limit. And unfortunately, the limit has been breached. Mark Hutchinson out of this race with engine failure.
It's also 112. We're in Europe.
Oh, shush.
Thank you.
To be fair, it's not even the correct emergency code for my own country.
Yeah, it's not very good, is it?
Oh, dearie me, a calamity of failures. But someone who's not had a calamity of failure is Edge Esports. They have played the game masterfully today. This team has been around for over 5 years. For the last 6 months or so is Edge Esports. For all of the years before that, it was Valters Automotive. That team has been in Super League for a few years now, but no achievement, Lewis, is going to top this one today.
A 1-2 is, I mean, it's a great feeling for a team. I've had a few in ITC. Honestly, it's absolutely brilliant to have both cars on the podium, to have both cars in a strong position. And today, with everything that's happened, these two have just done everything. The recovery drive from Burlak, absolutely insanely good. The drive from Yarltine, fantastic. Brilliant stuff for Edge Esports.
Consider that start racing incident again. What if that hadn't happened? Burlak might very well have won the race. As it happens, he hasn't. And you know what? Tyen, he's got so much time available. He's going to slow down for a flying formation finish as well. For the first time in their history, Edge Esports take a 1-2. And it's here at the German Grand Prix. Tyen picks up his second win of the season, his first since Monaco. And Burlak picks up second to fly home, with Borja Milan in third, picking up his second podium in as many races. Great stuff from the Spaniard. A brilliant fight. What a right Kirk. That is Eval's highest finish in their very short existence as a Super League outfit. It's right Kirk's highest finish in the Super League. Fournier picks up P5 for Epic Racing, with Dennis Jordan coming home in P6. Risto, Capit and ACR Zach Speed. They still lead the championship in the Constructors, but that is a sizable gap that has been eaten out of by Edge Esports. Gomez comes home an impressive P8 for Red Archer, with Kazdorp P9 for Adonis. Costa from the pit lane takes home P10. A brilliant drive from the Hawkeye driver. Michael Ayres, for the first time in 5 races, not only finishes a race, but scores points again. Those past 2 times he scored points, he was in P11. He's done that for the 3rd time in his career. Great drive from the Englishman. Florian Gaia picks up P12 for Red Bull Street Fighter. That is close to equaling their best result all season. That's 4 crucial points in their championship. Mazurik also picking up good points as well, though. Paulini in 13th. Hoekstra picking up the final points. And in between him, Erhan Yoska, after recovering from a nasty foot injury, takes home P14 and 2 points himself. The rest of your finishers, for the first time since 2006, both Nordschens finish, but outside the points. Fidix 16th. Behind him, Tobias Olsen with Alex Cooper, Fidix teammate 18th. Tida and Klont, your final finishes in 19th and 20th. Ultimately, we had 7 retirements. Mark Hutchinson with an engine blow. Sven de Vries with brake failure. Parker with suspension damage. Siebel with a disconnection. Enerick with suspension. Sutton with suspension. And Horrell with suspension. But at the end of the day, everything went their way. Edge Esports, congratulations.
I just can't. That's fantastic. It's brilliant in every way. They've done everything they needed to do. When everything happened with Siebel, with stuff that happened at the start of the race, Pete Burlak did that incredible recovery drive. And yeah, fantastic stuff. A 1-2. Boyan Milan on the podium. Again, fantastic stuff from him. Jeff Fournier recovered brilliantly as well for 5th position. Dennis Jordan, 6th position. I would suggest that position is not going to hold.
You think? I mean, it's down to the DC, of course, but
it is obviously down to the disciplinary committee. They'll generally look at things that happen on the first lap. And he has apologised to the survey, just said, sorry guys for turn 1. But I think if the DC look at that, obviously I'm not a member of the DC, so I can't say either way. But from what I've seen, I'd probably suggest that would be a 10-second time penalty. And that would drop into 10th position.
That's heavy. That
is heavy, yes.
And speaking of heavy as well, we've just had a little bit of info through that David Fidek apparently was carrying an injury of himself and apparently nearly didn't race today. I do wonder whether it would have been... I know isn't there reserve driver David Yunt still?
Yes, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut on that one.
From my personal point of view, if you've got an injury, then you put your reserve driver in because you don't know whether the guy will even make the end of the race. And maybe would have scored points.
Yes, but then I would also say no. Right. This is okay. See, now you've made me open my mouth. Here we go.
Yeah.
Right. I would say that Fidek, even with an injury, especially the fact that he was still ahead of Alex Cooper, is still probably better. No offense, than David Jan. Right. If you had a team, right, like KCR Zaxpeed, right, and you were right up there at the top end of the championship, and you needed to be absolutely sure that you were going to score points. You had a car that was definitely good enough for points, and you weren't sure then if Fidek was going to finish. Then I'd say, yeah, probably replace him just to make sure that there is actually points coming in here. But when you're a team like Nordschen, where you're not really right at the top of the championship, you're in a decent spot. But I'd say then sticking the Fidek in the car. He's more likely to score points, even in his injured state.
It's a fair opinion. I mean, I'm thinking to Motorsport Manager as well, actually, where why would you use a reserve driver who you feel still doesn't match up to a 2 times world champion? It's an interesting debate to have, and I'm sure that'll be one that many people will have at home as well. But let's get the thoughts of some of these drivers then. And well, it's probably best to start with the race winner himself. Sorry to drag you out of the conversation with your team there, Jarl. What an evening for Edge Esports. Now, we know that there was, of course, a little bit of luck involved with that terribly unfortunate Alex Stiebel disconnection, but ultimately it led to a 1-2 for Edge Esports. That's the first time in their history, even as Wouters in the Super League, that they've been able to manage that.
Yeah, it's great, no? I honestly didn't expect to even finish in the top 5. I made a post earlier on my page that I might creep into the top 5 if I keep my nose clean. So a win is by far outweighing my expectations. I think.
Well, I was going to say, even in that, like you sound surprised. You went with a very aggressive strategy. We were applauding you for going ultras to the end instead of going for the mediums. So what inspired that decision?
I was done. All that was pre-planned. That third stint, though, or the third to last stint on my super softs, was very vital, making sure I do enough laps, therefore I can do the double ultra. I was initially considering of just covering Borja with just another set of supers, but I made sure to extend it just a little bit more, therefore I can have the better tires. And then just rest of the race, I was just maintaining the gap by saving fuel and tires and whatnot. I probably could have pulled away a bit more, but I just didn't want to risk it by mistake.
Now, I'm sure there were slightly sheepish looks from a couple of people at Edge Esports when news came out over the last week that going into the German Grand Prix, you actually had one of the weakest cars available. You've proven that you can win in that one of those weakest cars on the grid. That must give you such huge confidence going into the second half of the season fully now that you can go on and not just take another win or more podiums, but maybe actually take the challenge back to ACR Zaxpeed now.
Well, let's not forget that we got pretty lucky today, but yeah, sure. I think had Alex been on track, the gap would have been maybe towards the end of the race, maybe around 7-8 seconds. That was my prediction. But even then, that's far away in what we expected. But yeah, I think the gap between us and ACR at this track is around 2.5 tenths, maybe 3. In the wet, it was like around 6 or 7 tenths, which is a bit excessive. But yeah, our upgrades for next race and next few races will be pretty good. Therefore, the gap between our cars will be a lot closer. So yeah, maybe take the fight to ACR.
Look forward to seeing them and what the upgrades can bring, y'all. Thank you very much, and congratulations on your second win.
Yeah, very quickly, thanks to Petar though. He made the setup this week and pretty much every week, and he made a stellar setup. It was very nicely balanced, and I think he could have won today had he not been unfortunate on the first lap.
Well, I'll tell you what, you've provided the perfect segue for me, because it is indeed Petar Burlak who we're going to be talking with next. And Petar, we're going to jump off Jarl's point. He was saying you were very unlucky at the start, and I think I certainly agree with him. Had it not been for that start incident, you might very well have won this race yourself. Maybe take us through it.
Yeah, that was a bit unfortunate, I think. the guy in front of me got a bad start, and then behind me got a really good one. And then 3 of us into turn 1. I was on the outside. I couldn't see what was going on. So
Your mic's a little bit fluffy there, Berlak. Are you able to clear up your mic?
I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds a bit
He's
better
sending
now.
signals out to space.
Yeah. But yeah, but to be fair, the recovery drive was incredible. To say you lost about 10 seconds or something after that first corner incident, and you were within 4-5 seconds of the race win at the end of it.
Is it better now, or?
Much better, much better.
Okay, yeah. I think I lost even more. I don't know. Yeah, I was just trying to pick people off if possible. I was really good into turn 2, so that was really helpful. And yeah, I had to convert to 3-stop. Originally, we were going to do 4 and just push, but that didn't work because I would come out in traffic all the time. But yeah, I was able to, I think, a little bit better than expected to save my tires.
Next time we go to the Hungaroring, is that a track that you particularly enjoy? I mean, we were expecting these upgrades, supposedly, for Edge Esports. It would be nice to maybe fight with a car which is a little bit closer to the guys who you're trying to beat next time, yeah?
Of course, yeah. We were struggling with the car a little bit more than usual last couple of races. But yeah, for Hungary, we should have a big upgrade and maybe close up 2/10 on the leading cars, and I think that will help us out a lot. And yeah, Hungaroring is one of my favorite tracks.
Ah. So there we go. Maybe another Edge win on the cards. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Jarl, Petter, thank you so much for joining me, guys. We'll probably have a little chat with team owner Andreas Waters. But before that, I want to get some positivity in the room. They have been slated week in, week out, but for the first time this season, Red Bull Street Fighter scores points in 2 consecutive races. Now, Flo, I know for a lot of the drivers in this, they had a lot of luck go their way, but you have to be in the right place in the right time to score the right points. And ultimately, P12, that is 4 crucial points for you and your team.
Hey, man. Yeah, I think you're right. We took advantage of what happened ahead, stayed cool during the race, and you know, when faster cars came up behind, I was immediately on the radio and saying like, we don't fight these guys, we let them pass, we focus on our race, and in the end, I think it was the right decision. Yeah, went, I mean, and yeah, of course, it's just P12. Normally, I would say I'm pretty disappointed, but we have to look at the situation right now, and this is pretty much the best result all year. And considering our car, I think we did quite well today. I mean, in qualifying, P8 was possible. I messed up my last lap, so that was a bit frustrating starting P16 in such a close grid in Hockenheim. But yeah, I tried to be aggressive on the start and made up a few places, and P11 at that point, so that was all good. And yeah, but as I said, from then onwards, we just focused on our own race, pretty much.
Does the mentality carry on over to your long-term goals? Because certainly for a team in your position, there might be a bit of a susceptibility to saying, well, we should focus on staying ahead of the team behind us, you know, that you are, for better or worse, in a relegation battle with Mad Cape. And of course, in gaining 4 points, when you look at the first half of the season, actually those 4 points, that's as many points as Mad Cape have gained over that first half of the season. On the flip side, though, do you feel it's better to actually just look at yourselves and focus upwards? Do you feel like that sort of positive mentality really helps the team?
Yeah, it's pretty difficult situation. You know, we, as I said many times before, we started with much different goals in mind, and we had to adjust at some point. And I think from now onwards, at least that's what I think and hope, it's just gonna get better from now onwards, I hope. I mean, there's obvious areas on the car that we got that we heard quite often on a certain show and been slated for. So we try and improve those areas and see where it gets us. I mean, over a single lap, I think it's just about okay. It's still like half a second, 6/10 of the other cars, of the best cars here. And we just need a bit more stability over the race because let's say 5-6 laps into a stint, the car's just sliding and I lose so much tire due to this, and the tires heat up even more. So it's, you know, we have to get the dominoes in place, and once we got everything in place, things will get better.
Well, if 2 weeks ago was Attack of the Scrutineer, today was Revenge of the Red Bull, and I think it was very well deserved as well, Flo. Congratulations on your points, and I certainly hope to see you in the points many more times over the course of this year.
Oh yeah, you betcha, man. Thanks.
It's good to hear some positivity in that team finally, but we're going to round off our interviews today with a man who is probably going to be the most positive of them all, Andreas Wouters, 1-2 for Edge Esports. Were you expecting it, or has it come out the blue?
I'm super happy, to be honest. I was personally not expecting it. I think the boys were not expecting it. They were kind of offbeat a little bit because of the 2 lost races where we were really off pace in both Austria and Silverstone. And they just got their heads together, got a lot of support from Mo as well. And apparently we had the pace, and they did it absolutely brilliant in the race. So absolutely amazing.
There's certainly a renewed sense of optimism, but as a team manager, what steps do you have to take to ensure that that wave of positive energy stays within the team? Because it's all fair and well, you've had this amazing, excellent result now, but how do you carry that over?
I think we still have to think about that one. First, we celebrate, of course.
Yes.
I think now, indeed, it's about keeping our head down. Of course, Alex Siebel disconnected, and to be honest, he is still, I think, objectively one of the fastest guys out there. I think we're getting closer, and once we get our development on track again, once we max out the parts that really matter, we can be a better challenge for them also on track. But I think we have a long way to go, and it means keep on the pressure, keep practicing, and make sure everything works together, not just the car, not just the drivers, but the entire package.
For a man with no solid plan yet, that sounds like a good plan, Andreas. Congratulations to you and your team. It was well deserved.
Yeah, thank you, James. Thank you.
And so comes to an end the interviews, Lewis. And with that, thanks very much to one of our heads of creation and wonderful things, Rick Scott. We have a chance to take a little look at the Drivers and Constructors Championships going out of this round. We were expecting that big chunk of points to come out of ACR Zach Speed as soon as Alex Siebel disconnected, Lewis. The gap brought down from 100 points exactly to 64. Almost half of their lead is gone.
It's huge. It's absolutely huge. Whether that means that Edge are realistically in championship contention, we'll see. But, you know, you're speaking to Andreas, you know, he's talking about all these upgrades that are likely to come into the car for the next round. We'll be pushing that car forward. So maybe the slump in the car that we saw here, like they were probably punching above their weight, is kind of the thing that I was getting, at least from Jarl. To have had that slump in the car and yet still a 1-2 out absolutely nowhere. They have surely got to be looking at the championship and thinking, how do we assert ourselves in a position where it's possible to get after that?
I tell you, though, speaking of championships, one thing which we've completely forgotten to mention is the drivers' side of things. Of course, Alex Siebel leading, non-score, whereas all 4 of the people behind him did score. Now, every other week, I would say, don't worry about it. You are still just shy of 30 points clear of your nearest rival who is in the same car as you. You are going to be fine. But that's 2 disconnections from a race in the space of 2 weeks now. Is that well, of course it's a reason to worry, but can it be sorted? You know, what sort of internet issues have you experienced in the past?
I mean, yeah, it's an issue. Sometimes the things, you know, they just happen. I'm sure he'll have it all sorted out. Also, like, he still has an entire race wins worth of points and a bit more before Risto Kappa catches him. Risto doesn't look like he's going to be winning a race realistically anytime soon. Sorry, but that's the truth of it at the moment. He doesn't look like a race-winning driver right now. And that said, also, if it is an internet connection issue that's happening, he has next round, and then we head into the summer break. And then he's got a huge amount of time to make sure it's sorted before we come back.
Well, actually, I'm going to say for the first time you're wrong.
Oh, God.
Because the summer break is now. That's right. The Hungarian Grand Prix is a month away. So it's a bit longer than your usual wait, but it gives you a chance to, you know, have a breather, do something else with your Thursday evenings, perhaps. But be sure to come back to the GPVWC or indeed WTF1 social media pages on the 2nd of August, where we travel to the they travel to the Hungaroring, not me, but either way. Hungaroring, Spa-Francorchamps, Monza, 3 legendary tracks, which will hopefully provide 3 legendary races to look forward to. Hungaroring is an interesting circuit, Lewis, isn't it? Very different to Hockenheim.
Oh, actually, I don't know if it's that different. Yes, it's a bit more of a high downforce circuit for sure. But like with some of the corners that are in the 3rd sector here, some of the high speed, fast, you know, flowing bits with the hairpins. I think there's a lot of things that you can take a look at and sort of, you know, what cars were stronger in the final sector and stuff like that, and take some information from there. But it's going to be a tricky one for some of these guys. The consistency, the level of focus required to pull off a race at Hungaroring is pretty intense. It's going to be good fun, especially if weather plays a part in it, which sometimes it does in Hungaroring. So I'm sure we'll have an interesting round. And yeah, hopefully this championship closes up because it's been fantastic so far. And who wouldn't want to go towards the end of the season, towards that Abu Dhabi Grand Prix with a championship on the table, and no one knows who's going to win it. At the moment, Seaboy, though, looking pretty strong.
No double points in sight either. It's all good here at the WTF1 Super League, and we hope you join us next time for that action. Again, remember, a month away, so set it in your calendars. Fun a few moments, and I'd just like to thank our wonderful broadcast team. To Gerrit, Vries, our broadcast overlord. There we go, fitted another one in there. To Lewis Mcglade, my wonderful co-commentator. I've been James Kirk, and from all of us here, it is a very warm goodbye.
To keep up to date with the latest GPVWC videos, click on the subscribe button, or check out more of our exciting sim racing action by choosing a video. For more information on the league, visit gpvwc.com.